Welcome back, nerds, to another episode of Between Nerds. I'm here with my co-host, Drew Elias.
Hi guys, Drew here, and we are here with a special guest, Mr. John Venegas.
For the second time.
Howdy.
Hello, John. How are you?
Pretty good about yourself.
I'm great. Why'd you quit Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm just kidding. We're not here for that. We are here to discuss Season 2 of ReZero, the Studio White Fox blockbuster anime hit based off of a web novel, based off of a published light novel, based off of some dude's perverted dream, I don't know.
Of maids. Getting together.
It's funny because the thing is, like, if you notice, like, maids after this, like, anime's attire for maids entirely changed.
No, yeah.
Like, it was like, poof.
No, it's great. But before we really get into it, I just want to do some housekeeping notes at the beginning of this episode. Please use hashtag LGBTnerds to help us donate to the Borderland Rainbow Center here in El Paso. For every like and retweet on original tweets or Instagram posts that use hashtag LGBTnerds, we will be donating to the Borderland Rainbow Center. And by using hashtag LGBTnerds in an original tweet or Instagram post, you will be automatically entered into our June giveaway. If you talk to Mr. Curbs, you know, we did great on his giveaway last month, so...
Yes, and then my nice, Asuka? That's her name?
Asuka?
Yeah, she gets just on, guys. Don't watch it. I'm just playing. Watch it. It's really good. But yeah, we're getting into the second season. We covered last season. We finished off on Ram Millie not being able to remember Ram.
Right.
Right?
So, ReZero is... for the people that, like, need to be caught up, because since we did talk about ReZero, 3-4 weeks ago already?
Yeah.
It's an isekai... Dude gets transferred to another world, but the gimmick here in this isekai is that he has the power of return by death.
Yes.
So, like, every time he dies, he gets to restart over because it's a fucking video game. And the moral of Season 1 is to learn more about, like, the humanity of these people, because in the beginning he just treats it like it is a video game, and none of these characters matter. They're all NPCs. He's like, what's his name from Konosuba that treats everything like red flags. And
Kazuma?
Yeah,
Kazuma.
like Kazuma from Konosuba, and he's just like, no, we can't do this. We might trip a flag. Oh no, I'm gonna go on this adventure, even though there's human lives at stake in all of these dumbass decisions he's making. So, like, if the moral of the story of Season 1 is about learning about everyone else's humanity, for me, Season 2 was about learning about, like, his own morality and taking his own, like, sanity and his own mental health into question.
Yeah, it definitely is, because the thing is like, it's especially, like, later on in the season where it starts talking about, like, his restarts, especially, like, later, it's episode, I think, 5 or 4? Mm-hmm. Episode 4, where it's the closing of the Subaru arc, so that's a thing.
In Season 1?
In Season 2.
Going
into Season 2.
So we're talking about Subaru and Child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we are, but the thing is it's like, that's the point. Is like, we forgot about Rem, basically TLDR of, like, last season.
Correct.
Rem is, starts off with Season 2, Rem is like, who's Rem? That's why I said if you're looking for Rem.
So like, Rem's the blue-haired maid character from Season 1, and one of the main villains from Season 1 was a white whale that, like, that erases people's existence, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I thought, something like that happened to Rem. Mm-hmm. Because out of nowhere, we don't see any, like, time skip or anything. Like, everything's continuous, but now Millie does not remember Rem. And so, the first episode, we literally catch up to, like, what's going on at Rem at the time.
Yeah, they're in the back of a carriage. Like, episode 26 literally just starts with Amelia and the one of the Petra, the little village girl, and Subaru just in the back, just picking up from their last conversation. And yeah, so we're led to believe maybe she was, like, erased by the white whale again, even though we know that, like, Subaru...
It's gone, yeah.
Painstakingly... And the white whale was a legendary mob beast?
Yeah, it was one of the 3, which... This is what goes over 1, and then the next 2 they show in this season. In the season 2.
And they were created by Gluttony.
Yes.
The Witch of Gluttony.
The Witch of Gluttony.
Which, like, is one of my main issues coming into Season 2. I feel like I don't know enough about, like, this witch cult system, even though, like, that's all Season 2 is about, and I know nothing about any of them. I don't know, like, why... Well, they briefly tried to discuss why the Witch of Gluttony tried making these mobbies, but
Yeah, the thing is you have to, like, well, maybe we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves because we're just talking about episode 1.
Right.
And I was like, this is episode 1 because she does it by me. That's like episode, 11?
Yeah.
And so the thing is that it's Rem, who's Rem? The joke starts all over again. Meet why I personally, like, it's Felix is okay going on later.
I miss Felix. I missed Felix so much in season 2. Is Felix still best boy? I can't stand seeing Subaru on screen. And, like, the next would-be best boys, like, introduced in season 2 are, like, what? Otto and Garfield?
Otto's my best boy.
I fucking hate Otto and Garfield.
Yeah.
Otto's great. Otto's fantastic, dude. He's a complete bro.
Otto's cool. He gets cool towards the end, but yeah, he is cool. What's his name? The best boy you like? Felix, yeah, completely, like, gets written off, like, in the first episode. Or I don't know if it's written off, but, like, we don't see him throughout the whole anime.
You see him for, like, the whopping, like, 5 minutes, and you see Krush, Felix, Wilhelm for, like, 5 minutes, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
It's because
they're gone.
It's because there's factions, right? Because they're all endorsing these women to be the next leader of this country. So as soon as we're done with what faction were they in?
It's her own. That's
what's her
Krush.
Oh, Krush.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Krush,
like in season 1, we're done with the Krush faction because they all got their own building episodes and all this. So now we're just dealing with witches and stuff like it. Because in this first episode in season 2. Here's where I started getting confused. Because, like, one of the last villains in season 1 was an archbishop of greed? Sloth. Okay. So now, all of a sudden, we get archbishops for greed and gluttony, and they're working together?
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is that this is the entire, like, kind of what I believe. This is not a thing.
Okay.
But the thing is,
official canon.
It's not official canon. It's straight up. They were there just to write off Rem.
Yeah.
Because the traction was insanely geared towards Rem.
Absolutely.
Like, it's hard geared towards him.
But I would have thought that, like, if they're archbishops for different sins, that they wouldn't work together. So that's why, like, I was confused that they were working together.
So it's a whole witch cult.
But I thought it was, like, multiple witch cults.
Correct, but I guess they all work, in tandem with each other?
They're working together because they want to destroy... It's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Oh. They still want to destroy the world.
Oh, okay. So they'll destroy the world first, and then they'll destroy each other.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we like when you were talking about where Rem and Krush get into the fight with the other two witch cultists. It was Roy Gluttony, which now we realize why nobody can remember Rem is because this guy got into Rem's head and stole her identity and her social number.
One of the powers of gluttony that you can just erase people.
The thing is that you have to pay really close attention to it because there's a requirement to activate that power.
Okay.
And so if you remember, it's Rem is there and she's explaining her title, which is what oh god, I forgot his name already. Regulus is basically trying to bait out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Regulus is trying to bait it out, and I can never pronounce his name, but I call him Lai. Lai, I'm sorry. I know it's German.
That's in Katos?
Yeah, it's like even like the way I read it, it's not even like that. It's I think it's like Roy or something. It's been a while. I read it like a year ago.
Yeah, I think Lai, that's the gluttony guy, and then Roy, that's the guy that you're talking about. Yeah. They look very alike.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's Regulus is trying to bait the title, and so they're trying to get the name. So if you notice, she says, "My name is Rem," and that activates it. That activates why she's deleted. That's why Krush still remembers herself because she never gave away her name.
Right. So, like, from after this episode onward, Rem is just like a husk. Like, she's not dead.
She's a potato.
Yeah, she's a potato. Like,
she's a potato.
I guess her heart's beating? I guess. Because, like, they never officially call her dead, and she's not rotting away or anything the rest of the season,
but might as well be, because nobody remembers her, and she's just there laying.
Yeah. Nobody remembers her. Rem doesn't remember her. Roswell, Amelia, nobody except Subaru.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why he does is because of Return by Death.
Is it because of Return by Death, or because he's always leaking witch miasma that like makes him immune to certain witch powers? No,
I think it's a Return by Death.
Okay,
because he can go delete, restart, restart,
and I'm sorry. And then once they rescue Rem and she's a husk in the bed and she's just vegetable, Subaru is trying to talk the court or whatever, like the council of which is Krush.
Yeah, Krush, Wilhelm,
Felix. And he's trying to be like, hey, we gotta go help. We gotta release the memories of Rem back to Rem so she can survive or whatever. But then Felix is like, nah, fuck that. It's like, we're not gonna put Krush in danger again. Yeah. Just for your own benefit and nobody else's benefit.
Right, because Felix only cares about Krush and that's it. It's like the
knight.
It's like the Puck Amelia thing, and that's when it gets really sad. And like what I was talking about, the major theme or what the overarching story here internally for Subaru is that like he just starts like threatening to like kill himself, or like he really does start killing himself this early because he's like, yeah, he puts a knife to his throat. He cuts his own fucking throat.
He cuts his, yeah.
But it's a video game, so he already found a new save point in the storyline, so he can't go back to before Rem was deleted.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is like it's one thing. It's kind of like I was telling you guys earlier. It's hinted if you're wondering why it pans to a knife and focuses on a knife. He does kill himself again. Like he does kill himself again. Like the amount of times that he actually either died or killed himself, how I read it is
like 4 or 5 times.
It's like times 2 or like times 3.
Yeah, because we just see the one in the anime.
Yeah, you get to see one because the thing is, what you definitely have to like. It's definitely for your viewers is there's a lot that happens. Like it's a huge like I call it Arc 4, and the reason why you call it Arc 4 is. It's because it's all these novels all together, right?
Right. So,
the length of Arc 4 is a combination of the length of Arc 5 and Arc 6 together.
Right.
So it's long.
Yeah.
Like, they had to condense a lot of stuff.
And that's how I feel about Season 2 of ReZero, because it's like it's 25 episodes, don't get me wrong. So that's 2, like, publishing every week seasons. So that was, like, the entirety of the winter 2020 anime season, the entirety of the spring 2021 anime season, and that like still wasn't enough time. Like there's just so much detail, and I'm watching it closely every episode. It's the only thing I'm doing, just watching this anime. And from episode to episode, I really feel like I'm missing so much. I feel like I'm watching it poorly, even though it's the only thing I'm paying attention to, and I feel like I'm fucking up because I'm just missing so much context.
And even like it's the light novel compared to the web novel, like it's just too much. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I completely agree with you, Drew. I felt the same way as I was watching. I'm like, and I'm not really paying attention. Like, am I stupid? What's going on?
Yeah, that was literally my thought at least 5-6 times. I'm like, I must be an idiot because they're doing nothing but talking, and I still have no idea what's going on.
Because we get again another like truckload dump of fucking characters now.
Yeah, because this Arc 4, as you're calling it, like, so it starts at the mansion, kind of.
It essentially, it's the interlude is where Rem gets deleted, and so it starts off exactly how the anime starts off, but he kills himself like an additional 2 times.
Right. And then we go to Roswell's mansion, and Roswell is like this clown-faced character who's also the host for Amelia.
He is the clown.
And yeah, he is. He's fucking weird too. And I want to get into him like a little later too, because once we get into his motivations, I'm really, really fucking confused once we get to Roswell. I'm like... Anyway, so we go to the mansion. Roswell's not there, and he's trapped in the sanctuary. And we meet a new maid. We meet like this
Frederica,
6'8" blonde bitch with fang teeth.
She's a beast.
She's half beast person or something. And she's like, yeah, Roswell told me to give you a message to go to the sanctuary. And so... And I can't even remember why they went. I think Subaru just wanted more information from him.
The thing is that he wanted to go to him, because they also had the villagers.
Right.
So he still wanted to save the villagers on top of Ram and Roswell, who were in Sanctuary. Now, the thing is that it's at the very end where Frederica opens up a note, and this is going on, I think it's the second episode, where she opens up a note and says, I did everything that my master instructed.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of like, it says, okay, well, he's up to no good.
Yeah.
Well, Roswell's up to no good, which, yeah.
He was.
It happens.
Yeah. But the Sanctuary was there before all this happened?
Yes.
It's been there for like 400 years, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's part, so like it's a feudal system, like a European feudal system, where like the one dude has the castle, oversees a couple villages and municipalities over the region, and it was just like part of his feudal land, right? Of Roswell's feudal land.
It is. That's at least what it looks like until they kind of tell you what it is later on.
Because they go in there
And they can't get out.
Yeah, and they can't get out. Like they pass through an invisible barrier. Amelia passes out, and we have Mr. Otto from season 1, who's like this merchant dude in this all green outfit that can hear birds. I don't fucking know.
His divine blessing. I don't remember what it is exactly, but his divine blessing is he can understand and basically speak to animals.
Right.
So if he's like,
which ends up being kind of OP.
It
it
is.
really is. I was like, people like blow it off, and I mean, I get it in that world, in World of OP. It doesn't sound that OP, but that's OP.
Like, he can speak to bugs, he can speak to these land dragon things that they use as horses.
He can speak to anything, and I mean, it's coming from like a strategic mindset. It's like, okay, I want to talk to flies, and they're going to fly around the enemy. Like, that's disgustingly OP.
Yeah.
You're getting knowledge as to what your enemy's doing in X camp. It's like, that's OP.
Right. Well, they go through the barrier, right? Mm-hmm. Amelia passes out. And was Puck there? Puck wasn't there, right?
He is the best dad by not showing up. It was like best dad award. And I say that with most sarcasm because, oh god.
And Puck is a great spirit that lives inside of Amelia's gem on her chest, right?
Yeah. And the thing is it's I don't know if I said it last week, but totally going into it, watch the OVAs.
Yeah.
Like, watch the OVA because it does explain that.
I watched the OVA for season 2, yeah.
It's that Amelia and Puck, TLDR of it, they form this contract. Puck is a great spirit, and in that contract, you find out in season 1, she dies, he kills the world.
Yeah.
And
because he's like the beast of the end or something, right?
He's
like his true form is like this 1,000-foot tall fucking wolf.
His true form is the only person, like in the book, in the novel, the only person who can beat him is Reinhardt. Okay. So that's why it's going into way later. Like, we'll get there.
Okay.
But the thing is Puck doesn't show up right now. The stone that we didn't mention it before, but Frederica gives him a stone.
Frederica gives Subaru a stone.
Subaru stone, yeah. Also, it's real important to mention that Petra gives him a white handkerchief that he wears around his wrist. The entire story. And so this stone glows. Now, this is where what I read and the official light novel differ a lot.
Yeah.
Because, as I told you guys earlier, the stone was there just to advance the plot.
Right. It's just like this little blue gem on a necklace.
Because it's essentially... I think he dies trying to get there. He dies trying to get there. Like, he dies a lot of time.
So when they go through this burial... And Millie passes out, we see that they're getting into some sort of like hallucination through that, going into the asylum, or what is it? No, not asylum.
It's sanctuary.
It's the sanctuary. There you go.
Sanctuary with air quotes.
And is this where we see Subaru going back to the real world?
Not yet.
No.
He's like transported to fucking Windows XP background. Just this green field.
That was like the meme. Even like one of my backgrounds is that she's mowing the lawn, and I'm like, it's a Windows XP background. Like, that was the entire meme. Like, if you actually watch a trailer, it's now I'm like straight up. I saw it. And I'm like, this is the Windows XP background.
Yeah, it's just these green rolling hills with like a little fucking T set up right in the middle of it.
A little T set up, and it's just blue and cloud skies. Like it looks so ideal, and that's where we meet Echidna, who's like the Witch of Greed.
Yeah, the Witch of Greed, and her character design: white hair, white eyelashes, white eyebrows, pale skin, black fucking pupils,
regular
black
witch.
irises. Yeah, it's a witchy looking bitch.
Yeah.
She's very witchy looking, and the thing is too is like it's I think the author has something with like white haired characters.
I think
she's
so too.
In terms of the huge while I was watching this on the server, in terms of like the biggest waifus, of course is number Ren. Of course, number 2 is Amelia. Then number 3 is her.
Why Echidna? I hate her character.
I hate her character.
It's because of the entire thing. It's the exact same thing why I like Rem.
Like Minerva.
I get why. Like I can understand why. It's like I respect Echidna. Like it's. I get why. It's just
Segment looked pretty cool too.
Segment. Oh
Yeah.
Which was that one?
She is
The Lust?
Which, yeah, no, she's not. She's the sloth.
Sloth? Oh, okay.
That's why she goes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my thing was, as soon as I saw Echidna, I thought maybe she was the witch that was related to Amelia, because in season 1 they're like, you have white hair just like that one fucking witch, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is Amelia's witch.
But you have to remember, in season 1 they always said, yeah, you look like the witch of crap.
Oh, and she does look like her. Kinda.
It's the witch of.
She's the witch. Her ancestor is the witch of Satella.
It's Satella. It's the name of the. It's the Witch of Envy. You look like the Witch of Envy, and that's the thing, is that it's the Witch of Envy. The Witch of Envy.
I didn't know, bro. There's like so many witches and so many apostles and so many archangels.
You have to like. I caught it very early on. As like, okay, sloth. They're gonna go over the 7 deadly sins,
right?
So it's like you really just have to be like, okay. So they went over sloth. Where's greed? Where's wrath? Where's everyone else?
And they do kind of introduce them all back to back, you know? So to Aldo's point, like the end of episode 3 is like we're in fucking Windows XP land.
Yeah, we are.
And then Echidna at the beginning of episode 4 feeds Subaru her vagina juice.
She says it's her bodily fluids now.
It was her vagina juice. That's my headcanon. You have your headcanon, that's my headcanon.
That is also my canon.
He Midsommar'd the bitch. Or she did that to him.
Yeah. And, he goes up there. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Where's Amelia? Why am I in the XP world? Give me something to drink. I'm thirsty. He drinks the pussy juice. And
he just, like, chugs it. Like, he doesn't...
Yeah, he chugs it. And it's supposed to be hot tea, bro. It's hot vagina juice tea. He chugs it.
It's like in Golden Wind, where it's like... It's like, it's the meme, like, what you guys post is like, just...
It's that hard-ass shit. Like, this is how I'm gonna impress everybody. By putting the pee in my tooth.
And then she starts going off to like, oh, I fucking love you, like every other female character in this anime. Is
I hate that. No.
She doesn't do that right off the bat. It happens a little bit later, but what you definitely have to remember. The only reason why I know is because I watched everything in like the past 4 days. She starts feeding him the information of, okay, I'm the Witch of Greed. And then she gives the name of everyone.
I ate all the other witches.
Yeah, I ate all, like, she defeated them all, or she did something. Carmilla, the Witch of Lust. Sekhmet, the Witch of Sloth. Daphne, the Witch of... Minerva's the witch of... She's my favorite. The Witch of Wrath.
Yeah.
Minerva's cool.
She's also the walking... She's the walking JoJo reference.
I hated Daphne.
Daphne, she's the Witch of Gluttony. Typhon, which is the... Witch of Pride, and Satella, Witch of Love. Yeah, Witch of Envy. 7. So we're like 7.
Well, there was also a reason behind tricking him into drinking her bodily fluids too, right? Because she could see that he had like a possession of power from Satella.
She the thing is that you have to remember, she's a Witch of Greed. So her thing is that she loves knowledge. Like, that's why it's later on you find out she created the Forbidden Library. That's why she just straight up loves knowledge. Now, it's like when it gets to her true intentions, that's where it's like the turning point, because I find it so great because it shows her true nature, but I mean, she's not wrong.
No, I agree, and that's maybe like my favorite part of the writing in season 2 is that, like, okay, so we watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood like a month and a half, 2 months ago, right? Mm-hmm. And like the homunculi are based off of the Seven Deadly Sins 2, but like it's really obvious and really like surface level how they're related to their sins.
The motivations.
Yeah. Once we get into the witches, like, it seems obvious at first, and with some of them it is, but the more we learn about Echidna, it, like, for, like, the first 10 episodes that she's in, I'm like, how is she greed? I don't understand. But you're right. Like, it's because she's hungry for knowledge. She's hungry to consume people. She's hungry to get everything she wants, even if it's not, like, money, which is normally how, like, you see greed portrayed, or even if it's not, like, people around her. She just needs it all, always. And they relate that to Subaru, because Subaru, like, we just described how he killed himself in, like, episode 2 of season 2, because things weren't going how he wanted, so he had to off himself.
And see, that's the thing, is, like, in terms of, because it's the way I remember is, like, the entire, the famous high school quote. It's like, knowledge is power.
Oh, yeah.
And see, that's the thing, is that her power is the knowledge she has. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing, is like, and we'll get to it when she reveals her true nature.
But then, like, right after he drinks the pussy juice, she's like, "Ha, you drank my pussy juice." Not even...
Yeah, she's like, you drank it.
You drank it. It's like, you're gonna be under my control in a couple of seconds. But then Subaru keeps going off, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's immune to my pussy juice." And, like, that's when she gets infatuated with him.
It wasn't until he, like, came back from one of the trials or something, because it wasn't until, like, the second or third time...
It was the second trial.
Yeah, it wasn't until, like, the second time he's back at the tea party. They call it the Witches' Tea Party, which I do kind of like. It feels like... It feels like a fucking, like a Tolkien novel title, like, the Witches' Tea Party. You know what I mean? Like, it feels cool. Anyways, but yeah, it's not until, like, the second or third time he goes back, and then she's like, this nerd is really immune to all this bullshit I'm trying to throw at him.
Yeah.
I want him to fill my womb. I don't know. Like,
and the thing is you kind of, what you have to think of it is like this. It's kind of like how it's Yu-Gi-Oh, where you're kind of baiting your opponent, right?
Okay, so, like, for anybody listening that doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh, you have a certain number of cards in hand, and, like, Yu-Gi-Oh is played like a break my castle kind of thing. So it's like, I'm defending myself with my life points as the player. I'm the turn one player. I set up a wall full of negations and big monsters, and your goal turn 2 is to break my wall and then punch through me. Correct?
Yeah, and so essentially, it's in that term. That's how you have to think of it. She's just poking, trying to see, well,
where's the weakness in his wall?
First off, what does he actually know? Because keep in mind, she knows about him, but she doesn't know everything yet. Because she at that point in time, and you'll find out in the trial, she knows everything.
How does she know so much at this point?
Well, she's a witch of greed, and she wants wisdom.
Consumes the tea.
When he consumes the tea...
Oh, okay.
See, that was never explained in the anime. How was I supposed to fucking know that?
See, that's the thing, is like, they didn't do a really good job of going over some things. Like, I know it because I read it.
Right.
I'm like, and that's the thing, too. They go over it, it's like, alright, well, he consumed the tea, and they kind of like explain it, because it's like, oh, well, it's activating your sloth authority factor. Which...
What is that? Like, help me.
Okay, so remember how Sloth has the invisible hand?
Right.
That's the Sloth authority.
Oh, yes.
See, that's the thing in the novel, like, what upset me a lot is it tells you he has it.
Oh. Yeah, because then we saw...
Fast forward like a while back.
Later on, he
punches Garfield.
Yeah, he punches Garfield with that shadow thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was from, like... because he has the power of the Witch of Envy, too. I thought that's what that was.
And no, he has a Sloth authority.
And, what is it? Betelgeuse? He has the same thing. With the hands.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he calls all his reincarnations, like, the fingers and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's eventually later on, like... Subaru calls it invisible providence.
Mm-hmm. But see, that wasn't explained at all in the anime, because so like
you kind of have to have someone that's like, okay, I read it. Like you have to have someone like kind of walk you
by like the end of this. Is he going to be unlocking every like sin authority, or because so like he has an envy power, which is the return by death. he has, by the end of season 2, he has the invisible hand, which is of Sloth.
Well, he has it at the end of season 1. It was inherited to him when he killed Sloth.
Never explained. Never fucking explained. Do you see what the fuck you mean?
They kind of they did a pretty tragic job of like not really explaining it.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, season 1, I loved season 1. Season 1 was
fire.
Was super fire. But then again, the thing that we keep saying, we're watching season 2 feeling stupid, not only by all that shit that we just try to explain with the powers and stuff, but like with just the plot itself.
Yeah.
She then asked him, like, well, how do I save Millie? How do I save Amelia? I need to save Amelia. And she's like, oh, well, you gotta look into your past. And that's when he tries again to go through the thing, right?
My favorite parts are...
Yeah, this is where we finally get, like, a whole episode, like episode 5, episode 4, which is just, like, him in the modern world, right? It's like a pass if he never went into the ReZero universe.
Yeah, essentially, the thing is like, we're going, episode 3, like, he learns everything about Echidna, and he takes the tea, whatever, right? Mm. And if I remember correctly, they go ahead and he gets pushed out. He goes back into the tomb, because the thing is that you have to have an activation requirement to get into the tomb, and I don't know if they said in the anime because I really wasn't paying attention at that point in time. Was like Roswell tried to get in, that's why he has all these bandages, but he got fucking wrecked.
we haven't even talked about that yet, because like Subaru just woke up in fucking Windows XP land, but in like real world, well, not even real world, but on the map he's inside of a tomb, which is Echidna's tomb, and that's where he's having these trials, and that's where he's experiencing Echidna's consciousness.
Yeah, because the thing is that you have to remember, like, her entire thing is, you'll find out later, is she wants to be immortal. Mm-hmm. So that's what she does, is she made her consciousness live inside this tomb, and this tomb is basically what's giving her the gift of life still.
Right.
And so going into the next episode where Subaru goes back into the tomb, he goes through, what the fuck does she say? He goes back into the tomb. The thing is that he stumbles and he knocks out. He says, it's not him, it's his inner monologue that says something. I forgot what it is exactly. And he wakes up in modern day Japan.
Right.
That's where he wakes up and he's like
his bedroom.
Yeah, Japan. He wakes up in his bedroom and he just looks around and he's like, okay, and keep in mind, this is at the end of the 3rd episode. And then his dad, which is, keep in mind, is total side comment, his dad is fucking jacked. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like part of the insecurity about who Subaru was, you know what I mean? Because he's this fucking shut-in, neat loser, and his dad's like the coolest fucking guy. Like, he's tall, he's yoked, he's smart, he's social. Like,
he if I want to be a dad, I would want to be Subaru, like Subaru's dad,
Mr. Subaru.
Yeah,
Mr. Natsuki.
Yeah, because his dad is like, he's more than just like a total bro. Like, he's an actual father figure. And he's like, look, you're my son too. Like, I'll give you actual advice, but that doesn't stop me from loving you, as my kid. Total whatever. So that's when we get into episode 4, where it's his dad. And they go ahead and they're doing I call it the display of their strength. Where I think his dad puts him in a hemlock, and then because it's in the novel, they explain that they watched wrestling.
Yeah.
And they put him in each other's wrestling moves.
Yeah.
And then his mom walks in saying, well, I'm hungry. She's like, I'm hungry.
This is the first time in forever I can even remember being introduced to an anime character's 2 parents. Like, ever. Like, ever. And, like, they're not real in this scenario because he's having a vision.
Yeah, and what he thinks is, because the goal of... What you have to remember is they're called trials. So the thing is that the goal of what Echidna wants is basically, it's not killing them by having them stay in there forever. Mm-hmm. But that's how they fail the trial. Is because they're like, well, I can't get over what I want to live in this world. Like,
I want to see my perfect past again.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, I want to see what I could have, this at this point in time, it's all the past.
Yeah, if shit hadn't gone sideways, I could have had this perfect past.
Yeah.
And a very good unfoldment of what Subaru was going through. And I mean, in the first season, you get introduced to Subaru, and he's like, oh shit, well, he was living a sad life, Not really a set life, but he was just a nerd that stayed in all the time, and he didn't really get into what was going on with him then. Until now that we get into this episode where he's been going through depression.
Yeah.
And his parents are trying to lift up his spirits and stuff like that. And we start learning that he starts skipping school every other day, and then every other 2 days, and then he stopped going at all.
Yeah.
So he was just going through depression, and this is not talked about in the first season, but his parents, as we can see from this past trial, is that they were there and they were trying to get him out of there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I'm glad you picked up on that, because they never flat out call it depression or socialized anxiety or anything like that, because it's like, he's so depressed, he can't move out of bed. He's so lethargic. He's so lackadaisical about everything. Nothing fucking matters. You know what I mean? But then he's fucking up so bad because of his depression. He gets more depressed thinking about how he's like letting his parents down and all that shit. And that's like the moral of this story and how he gets over this past trial, because it's kind of like he has this heart to heart with like his
dad.
With his dad.
Well, it's not his real dad though. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah,
like this trial's past version reincarnation.
The illusion of his dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the illusion of his dad. They're sitting down there having a heart to heart, and he's just like, "Dad, I'm sorry, I'm such a fuck up. I'm sorry that you're the coolest fucking guy ever, and like I can't get my dick sucked as much as you." He's like, "Dude, I don't care if you get your dick sucked. Just be the best dick you can be."
It's just like, he's like, you have those devil eyes that your mom from your mom or something like that.
He's like, you have those devil eyes, but that's from your mom. But that's from your mom, but that's okay because you're still my son. And it's like,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's what the fuck do they say? Is your father's you look just like your father,
right?
And that's the thing is like it repeats itself constantly when it's going through like his flashback of how he
is not as good as
he didn't live up to his father, to what his father is.
And they never say exactly what his father is. Like he owns a company or something, and like he's really good in the community.
Really explain.
That's what I mean.
He's just a likable guy.
But he's popular because like even like they run into some random old man in the park, and the old man's like, "Yo, Mr. Natsuki, you're not at work today, but you're so busy and important and popular." Or maybe what they're trying to tell you is that's Subaru's impression of who his father was.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing is like it and that's what it is because keep in mind Echidna's generating all of this
from his memory.
From his memory. So for what? All we know is that what Subaru is what thinks of his father.
Yeah.
But I mean he's just his father's he's total dude. I aspire to be like him.
But, like, the passing of the trial is getting over that past, right?
Yeah.
So, like, after this heart-to-heart with his mind's eye memory of his dad or whatever the fuck, like, he gets the balls to go to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he spends, for what we think, maybe, like, about a week or, some months.
He spends, it's in there, I think it's, like, half a day.
Half a day?
He spends these half a day, like, in the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. He walks with his mom, which the mom mentions, like, we haven't walked in so long.
Because they walk to school together. Like, she's gonna go do errands or whatever, and he's going to school for the first time. And the mom's just happy he's fucking going. He's just like...
Yeah, she's just so glad.
You're not getting passed. You haven't gone in fucking weeks. Like,
but I'm just happy you're going.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see you off. Like, good for you.
And oh man, never forget, dude. When I saw this, and when I was streaming it for the server, because they don't go over like the entire flashback. That wasn't written. Like that wasn't written. So I'm here. I'm like, okay, I know. And then it pauses, and then you get the flashback of literally his mom was saying goodbye, and he didn't say anything when he left.
Correct.
That like he had the opportunity to say goodbye to his mom.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Fucking cried.
Yeah.
I'm like, I cried so. I was there and I was like, oh god. I was like, oh shit.
It is kind of fucked up, but like it's a cool ending to like this trial, because he goes into the school, like he accomplishes it, but like he almost like forgot it's a fucking memory and it's not real, because he walked into an empty classroom and a kid, this bitch ass is there in like a schoolgirl uniform. He's just like, oh fuck, like I forgot this is what was happening.
Mm-hmm. But in a way, he did pass his past trial.
Yeah, because he got over it. He got over like his past self's shortcomings which is kind of the point of like this first trial.
And
Which is to get over your past, yeah.
And honestly, at this point, as me watching it, like, this is what reels me back in, because I have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, I still barely understand who
Yeah. So now with this little pass round, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I like it. I like more meat into Subaru's fucking character besides this, fucking guy that we see throughout the whole season. And he passes and he wakes up next to Millie.
Amelia.
Yeah.
And he's trying to wake her up and trying to not see what she's going through, but like
You could tell it shows that her lips are quivering. She's having a bad day.
She's having a bad trip.
She's having a really bad time.
like no, don't ruin this for me, Emily. I'm having a good trip.
Like she's having because in the novel, it's in the web novel they kind of made it a lot more easier because it was linear.
Yeah.
Because the thing what I don't like what they did with the light novel and the anime is they kind of took it like zigzag across, and that's how they explained everything versus the web novel, which what I read, and it was just more linear, so it was a lot easier to get. Because like for this didn't happen to like all this shit didn't happen to me until like chapter like 50,
Right.
And by that time Subaru was mauled by Garfield like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like it was so much.
We haven't even
he killed Patrice.
We haven't even been introduced to Garfield yet. So Subaru gets Mealy, they walk out, and like this fucking
They're walking in, right?
No, they're walking out.
Out? Oh,
they're walking out.
Oh, they're walking out. Yeah,
They're walking out of the trial or the tomb, the grave, whatever the fuck it was called. And then they see this dude with blonde hair and then like sharp teeth like that maid we met earlier. And he's just like, and you're right, he's a JoJo character. He's just like, hey guys, you look like a bunch of pussies. I'm such a dope ass dude. What are you guys doing here?
And that's Otto and Subaru when they're on top of the chariot, right?
Yeah, because the thing is like what happens is Garfield, he's there and he's like, I'm the defender of Sanctuary, blah blah blah. And like
and we don't even know what the Sanctuary is still.
Yeah, he still hasn't actually gone inside the Sanctuary, the village yet. He just knows it exists,
right?
And the thing is, like in the in the web novel, like Garfield obliterates Patrice, like obliterates Patrice once, and then he dies in there. And then, like in the web novel, that's what causes like the other to get in. But for the sake of the anime, Patrice tries to save Subaru because Garfield's just gonna wreck his day again. And what she does is she bites him, but fucking Garfield just like suplexes the ground dragon.
Patrice?
Yeah.
Yeah, she suplexes him.
And just knocks him out. Knocks her out.
Knocks him out, and then he knocks out Subaru, right?
He almost does. He almost knocks him out. But then I think he shows the crystal, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
And then they're like, oh, well, you have the thing. I was like, oh, well, then why don't you come on in? And it's like, well, fuck me for you almost killing my ground dragon. I was like, oh, well, And
Amelia's still passed out. You know what I mean? Like, we still haven't heard from Puck. Amelia's still passed out. And they get in Otto's chariot, and like they're going back into town.
And that's where they meet Ram and they see Roswell, and they're like, oh, thank goodness you're okay.
Yeah, and we see Roswell all fucked up because we know he's strong from season 1 because he defeated like that pack of mob beasts all by himself.
With one attack.
Yeah, with one attack. So we see the guy in bed all fucked up, and he's just full of bandages. Like one of you was trying to describe earlier when he tried walking into the trial into the grave by himself, but
because he didn't have the qualification, and the thing is that it will destroy you if you don't have the qualification.
Yeah,
and so it's like,
which is crazy because like. Second to last episode of this season, we get exposition about how Roswell's probably like the strongest mortal.
He's like the strongest, but he's like the strongest like mortal or magician.
Yeah.
He's the strongest like magician of the entire.
I think they said nation. Human. Yeah, they said human. And so for somebody like that to be all fucked up, then we're really confused. We're like, what the fuck? What do you mean? How is this happening? And I don't even know. Well, what we find out is that. So we get exposition about the sanctuary itself, right? So it's this giant invisible barrier that's made on the tombstone of the Witch of Greed, who we met already, but Subaru doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Subaru doesn't remember meeting Echidna.
Yeah, because she erases it from his memories.
Right, even though they made like a deal like on his way out.
Yeah, the deal was that you're not going to have a memory of this. This is what I'm going to take.
Yeah,
because I'm the witch agreed. I need some form of payment.
Yeah. And so like the bright idea here is that like Amelia has the qualifications. She's gonna be the next candidate of whatever the fuck, and we've saved the same group of villagers like 3-4 fucking times already just through season 1. Like imagine being one of these villagers like month to month you're just dealing with all this crazy batshit.
Yeah,
it's like
should we start looking for a new house or something? Goddamn,
like
let's move closer to the city.
Yeah,
it's and like all this happens like in the span of what. Because it happens immediately, like right after. So, like in the span of what, less than a week?
Yeah.
Like 3 days. This is all that's happening.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
a fucking nightmare if you're one of these villagers.
Yeah, like it's an Omega feels bad. Like you're there and you're like, damn, I should probably move away. It's like I should really, really move away.
Well, what they do find out is that it's a barrier, but it's only keeping inside like demi-humans.
Yeah,
yes,
it's keeping people who are half blood.
So Subaru asks Rom, he's like, yo, do you remember your sister Rem? Like the person you fucking love, the blue-haired bitch that looks exactly like you? And she's like, who the fuck is Rem?
Yeah.
And so Subaru, his focus still, at this early on in season 2, is on Rem. Like he still wants to recover Rem, recover her memory, recover who she was as a person. So he immediately rushes from there. He grabs Otto, grabs Rom, and like just takes them straight to the mansion. Mm-hmm. But then once we get there, we see like the guts bitch from episode 1 of season 1.
Yeah, what's her name?
Fear Mommy Elsa.
Yeah, Elsa.
Fear Mommy Elsa.
Elsa, yeah.
They walk into the place and then right away, isn't Elsa just there? But she has like knowledge of like when they were supposed to be there, when
she was basically hired. She was hired, and that's the thing is like at that point in time he didn't know, but he's there and he's like, okay, well, she's like, okay, I have a list. I have a bigger maid, a smaller maid, and Subaru. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones I have to kill.
Right.
And then she does.
Yeah, she murders everybody.
Yeah, she does, and this is the first one where Subaru tries to save him and he like fails miserably. Like Subaru does.
Yeah, Subaru's the only one not killed at first.
Yeah, he's not killed at first, but then he gets his like. Remember how she calls herself the Bow Hunter?
Yeah,
like it's I do like how the anime did this because it's pretty gruesome and novel too. Was you see his intestines just stretched out,
but he doesn't even die right here yet because like he's trying to run away from Elsa. He runs into what he thinks is Rem's room.
Yeah.
And he ends up in the library with fucking Beatrice, who's like the crazy blonde chick from season 1 who's like says I suppose after everything.
Yeah, it's like everything I suppose.
Well, you're a bitch, I suppose.
Yeah.
And you expect her to say that after every time. Like, she doesn't fucking like Subaru. Like, she almost seems annoyed with him every interaction.
The thing is what you have to, because I think it's, the first time, like, it was the second episode where he talked to Beatrice, and he hands her a gospel. And she's like, well, where did you get this? And then Beatrice goes, oh, well...
The one he got from
too.
Peltagoose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, you left me too. And it's like, well... And that's the thing is it kind of hints like, okay, well, they knew each other somehow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. Like, I'm still reading it. Fucking year later. I'm still reading it. But they knew each other somehow, and I personally don't know how. At least not yet. But that's the thing is, like, it's... I think this is the moment where... This is the moment where Beatrice, like, reveals her own gospel. Is it?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Because, like, so Subaru walks in the library. And then Subaru's dumbass is like, this is too fucking much. I need to end the cycle right now. And he tries to kill himself. Mm-hmm. And Betty saves him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck, Betty? Like, I'm trying to fucking murder myself. And he can't say it because that's part of, like, the Return by Death curse is, like, he can't talk about it to anybody.
He can't talk about it.
So then, like, oh no, he does notice that she has what appears to be a witch's gospel.
Yeah.
And she's like looking in from it and she's like, no, you're not that person. You're not him or something
you're
like
not that person. Yeah, it's like, you're not that person. This entire book has told me what my future is going to be and all that. And it's this is where it kind of gets convoluted.
And he's like super fucked up when he goes into the forbidden library or the
like
library.
he just watched like 4 girls get murdered in front of him.
And I'm sorry, and then we know Elsa is coming back after him, and I think at this point of the dialogue, it's like, stop her, and then why should I if I'm the one that told her to do it, or something like that?
Yeah. So then he's really fucked up. So, and he does manage to kill himself, so then we get that restart there.
Yeah.
But he does much of the same again.
Yeah, he does. It's like, again, he's reaching out to... The thing is that what always... He's reaching out towards Emilio because he's like a... And the thing is what I do, like, you have to... You start seeing, like, the effects of how many times he's died.
Yeah.
Because he's reaching out and he's like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to fucking die.
Because every time he comes back, he's, like, in shock, too. Like, he's still, like... feeling around for his neck. He's still feeling around for his bowels. He's still like
he's feeling, making sure he's still like in one piece.
And that's what fucks up. So he does much of the same, but like the way he's going about it is he ends up having a private talk with Garfield, and that's where we're reintroduced to like this short, pink-haired, almost elf-looking girl that we haven't described yet. Her name's like Ryuzu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Garfield keeps calling her old lady, and we're still dumbfounded. He's just... And the thing about Garfield's speech pattern is that he talks in, like...
Meows?
Like tropes, and he talks in, like old man sayings and stuff like that.
It's really weird. He talks in a very weird way. Even, like reading it, and I was like...
Like euphemisms that only apply to this to the ReZero world, but Subaru, being from our modern world, has no fucking idea what he's talking about half the time.
And that's the thing. That's the one thing I do like, because it's like, okay, well, he's using like these sayings that like only apply there, and Subaru's like always dumbfounded. He's like, I don't understand what you're saying, but okay.
You're just as motivated as the ground dragon's butt.
Yeah. He's like,
what the fuck did you just say?
He's like, all right, like ground dragon, you, I guess running. It's 2 and 2. He's clever enough to put it together.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like Sandy and SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Like,
she's talking in like these weird Texas mannerisms, and SpongeBob's just like, that's fucking weird, whatever, man.
Yeah. What are you saying, Squirrel Girl?
It's like, yes.
But yeah, this is where we get a sense of like exactly the kind of like beast demi-human that Garfield is, because right away he's like, yo, I can smell that fucking miasma on you. Like, you have the witch's scent on you. That shit's fucking disgusting. It's just leaking off of you all of the time.
Yeah. So he doesn't trust him for that reason.
Yeah. And Subaru tries explaining this to both Ryuzu and Garfield, but Garfield's like taking his cues from Ryuzu, so she's just kind of like, yeah, if you say he's a sussy baka, he's a sussy baka. And they just lock him up for a week.
Yep, they do.
It's so... Yeah, this part was...
And I didn't like this part, because like within one episode to the next, we're expected to believe it's a whole week, and he's been like his eyes gouged out, like he's just been beaten and
Otto
starved.
saves them.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, Otto magically knows where the fuck he is.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, and I think that's where... I think he says where he's like, oh, I'll talk to the animals.
Yeah. Which is just such a gimmick. Like,
I was like, the thing is
I asked the bugs where my friend was.
Well, you did see a little bit of that in season 1, where he just kind of like sends the forest, and he takes a left at the fork or whatever, and he's like, no, we should go this way, trust me, blah blah blah. Anyways, yeah, he comes down here, and I want to say progressive writing, but again, nothing is really put in that detail, but like Otto dumps his purse for Subaru on the cave.
Oh,
right?
Like he just opens up to him a lot. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo, I'm a merchant. I'm a fucking loser. My family didn't love me because they thought I was weird.
Yeah, and then you get his flashback, like, what? I don't know when. I don't even remember.
Like second half of the season, yeah. And that's why I could see why you would think Otto's best boy, because he's just like wholly dedicated to Subaru for like no fucking reason.
He's dedicated to him because like it's like everyone picked on him. Like even he got fucking NTR'd by a cat.
Yeah.
Like he got NTR'd by another cat.
Yeah,
so here I'm like, damn, that sucks.
And yeah, and it's like you're so brave and you try to do all this stuff and I'm gonna help you, because before, I mean, when Subaru got locked up, he was with Otto when Otto took him away, and then when they got back to, I guess, where Roswell was, he noticed that Subaru wasn't there, so that's how he found out where he was, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, we had this whole purse dump, and Otto best boy. And from there, he tries to do. He's trying to kill himself again, right?
No, I don't think at that point in time he tries to kill himself.
Well, Otto and Ram are having like a conversation with Subaru and Roswell.
Yes,
and that's when Roswell starts describing about Beatrice and so we saw Beatrice's tome or whatever, her fucking witch Bible. And then out of fucking Roswell's pillow, he pulls out the same fucking black book. Mm-hmm. And that's where we know that Roswell knows absolutely everything. Because every consciousness of Roswell is like reading from this book that has like everything that's about to happen.
Yeah, it's essentially, basically this book tells the future. But before, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Because he doesn't kill himself. Mm-hmm. What happens is he goes into the forest. Him, Subaru, and Otto Otto, Subaru, and Garfield, Ram are there, and they're talking, and they're like, wait, shit, can you hear that? And it's Otto's like just mortified because he just sees this big orange cat.
Which is Garfield.
And like Garfield. What Aldo was talking about, it does look like Tony and Tiger.
Because the thing I think Garfield, dude.
It does,
and it's big orange cat.
It is
Garfield.
big orange cat, but it looks like he has big forearms and little legs. Like he looks fucking Tony and Tiger.
Well, I get that.
What is Garfield? And then not just a like buffed fucking Tony and Tiger. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he really is. Like, because the thing is, I think big ass cat, it's just like orange. I'm hearing like his name is Garfield. He's a big orange cat. Like, I don't.
But Otto and Subaru get away.
Yeah, because they're trying. They get away because Ram stays behind. In the novel, they talk about how. Well, she gets obliterated.
Yeah, they kind of show that she gets fucked up by a paw, but like...
Oh, yeah, she goes splat.
Yeah,
she goes splat.
Yeah, she
goes splat.
She gets squished. But, like, what's fucked up here is that, like, this whole time Garfield's been trying to hit up on Ram the whole time, too. He's just like, hey, you...
Yeah, you're my favorite.
Hey, you
like,
pink-haired cutie.
And then just... It's like, well, I guess love is...
So much for that.
Squishable, I guess. And then Garfield goes after him. He basically squishes. Reading this part in the novel was like absolutely graphic.
Yeah,
like it was. I was reading, and I was like, oh god, like it's just like there was no way they're gonna fucking animate everything because I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, like it's truly, in all honesty, read it because it's just like
very good animation though. Like we mentioned back in season 1 with the whales, very good like monster design.
Yeah,
Garfield looks pretty badass, and he's not so annoying now anymore that I've seen what he can do.
Yeah. And what's fucked up is you think they're about to get away, right? So we just saw Ron get killed. They're like, okay, they're on the way to the mansion. The minute they cross the barrier, that white stone that like Frederica had given Subaru like glows, and all of a sudden he wakes up and he's inside of the altar or whatever.
The XP.
The window.
Oh, the altar. Yeah, the altar.
He's inside of the tombstone. The
tomb?
Where she's laying, where the witch is laying on the like
the sanctuary. They wake up in like the frozen sanctuary.
No, he. Oh, okay, so
am I wrong? Am I confused?
No. You're right. Because the thing is okay. I remember where we're at. Because the thing is we're at the best part. It's because you'll notice. It's he goes ahead and he wakes up and he thinks it's a tomb. It's where he was later on. We find out that's where he gets captured, or if that didn't happen already.
Right.
And so the thing is he walks out and it's just snow, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, well, what's going on? He sees absolutely nothing. None of the bodies. Like it's. Keep in mind, there should be blood everywhere, and there should be fragments of body parts everywhere. With how Garfield was just murdering everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. There was nothing there. Nothing left. And so what happens is he walks out and there's this rabbit in the snow and he just like leans down.
Yeah, it looks like this cute little bunny. Like it's a little 3D bunny with red eyes and a little horn. And
like
you're
like Jack Rabbit.
Oh, look,
like
it's so
horn.
cute. And then his hand just goes flying off and you're like, oh,
that bunny's gonna murder him.
yeah, the bunny's gonna murder him. So fun fact. Also here, they've graphically describe how he gets murdered. So first, comes off his hand. He doesn't even feel his leg come off. When he falls over and he's missing like half his leg, right? And so the thing is when all the rabbits are gonna jump him, and when he gets naked, it's like he doesn't get naked. It's all the rabbits just devouring him, right?
Correct.
And it goes and it pans like several shots. If you look really closely, you'll see that there's something like this, right? There's like something where it looks like it's a torso, but it's like on its side.
Yeah.
The thing is that that's his butthole. It describes
way.
how it's like literally eating his ass.
They ate it.
Like,
There's ass eating and I didn't notice?
like eating his ass, and so that's the thing. And
So
then he
that's
wakes
what-
up and he's just shivering, right?
That's why he's holding his gut?
Yes.
Oh,
That's why he's
shit.
holding everything, because he's like he got violently murdered.
Oh,
And you can see the whole like getting murdered like that is like it's by far as of right now that's the worst way he's gotten murdered.
So yeah, he dies, but our new save point is inside of the sanctuary next to Amelia.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there.
So then right away he's all fucked up, and then he just cries out to like to nobody because he doesn't remember who Echidna is.
Yeah.
But he just kind of wakes up back at the tea party again.
He goes and he's back in Windows XP land. And that's the thing. It's like he wakes up and he's back into Windows XP land and Echidna's there. And he's there and he's like, oh, well, at least my hand's here.
Yeah.
He was like, well, okay, I'm not going to die. And so the thing is that this entire part is where Subaru goes up to Echidna and he's describing everything, but he's afraid. And Echidna has to say, well, you're safe here. This is your safe zone. It's your safe place. And Subaru, by all means, and by 100%, I mean, he has every right to be, like, super skeptical. Is like,
drinks
well,
the tea again.
no, not even that. He's like, if I say I return by death, I'm gonna die. Mm-hmm. And, it goes into his flashback of, like, him saying it and, like, everyone around him dying around because he mentioned it. And then he's like, I can return by death. And he doesn't die.
Yeah.
And he just starts bawling and he just starts crying. And he just starts basically letting it all out to Echidna.
Yeah.
And remember how we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Where he's just like, okay, well, where she's like kind of poking.
Yeah.
He throws out his entire like hand.
Yeah.
And so Echidna's there and she's like, okay, this is a pretty fucking OP ability.
Yeah.
And so that's where the infatuation grows even more because she wants this power.
But, like, she's not even shocked when he's describing it. Like, she already kind of knew about it. Because everything that's within the sanctuary, she could see anyways. So even though, like, time's resetting and it's, like, an alternate timeline, she's seeing every timeline at the same time because
she's pulling it from Subaru's memories.
Yeah. So she knows exactly what the fuck's going on. And you're right, like, she gets this weird infatuation about it, and that's what I don't like about, like, this kind of anime writing, because, like, I get what harems are. I get what harem anime is. I was just talking about Orin High School Host Club, and it's this type of harem never sits right with me, because it's, like, it gives nerds, like, this sense that this false sense that every girl just secretly wants to be in love with you and just needs to know like one thing about you and she's gonna be all about it.
I mean, it sells though, so
it sells. It does sell, but it's like it's so not like my favorite male characters are written in a way that it's. I guess I'm trying to think of the guy from Monogatari where, like, when he interacts with women, he's interacting with them like he does every other person. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, you're this random bitch, I'm gonna shoot the shit with you, you're hot, but whatever, like, I got a girlfriend, it's cool. But, like, Subaru, it's just always like, if I'm such a sappy bitch, then every girl's gonna fall in love with me right away, and they're gonna want to dedicate themselves to me. And if I dedicate myself to every woman that I barely even know, then it's okay. But that's crazy talk. That's how people get hurt.
But here's the thing: is that he's only spilling his shit out because he's not been able to tell anyone in this world that he can do it.
Maybe this is the wrong example.
Maybe this is at this time, it's probably the wrong.
But like, maybe I'm thinking of Amelia more because it's just like, oh, I've known this bitch for a day. She's hot. She's nice. I love her. Like, that's so.
No, that's Amelia though.
But you're right. Here, what we get is like a whole episode of like the witches inside of Windows XP land, and it's Subaru fucking crying his eyes out because like all the traumas he's been experiencing and taking on himself have finally caught up to him, and he's finally like about to go like full manic. Except like in season 1 he went into like a depressive state, but now he's going like full blown like manic about it. Like he just can't hold it in.
Like to be real, man, like he got his fucking ass literally eaten.
Yeah.
So he did, dude. That's crazy.
Like he got his ass literally eaten.
Yeah.
And so like by that time, like I said, it's the most gruesome way he's died.
Yeah.
And so he's just he doesn't want to take it on alone. When it goes for a break in the novel, it actually goes over like a discussion what they're doing, and they're basically like, okay, well, that's where they kind of Echidna draws everything from. Like, is she like later on she wants to form the contract, right?
Right.
But that's basically where she gets the all ideas for her contract. She's like, well, I'm stuck in here. You know, I can help you. You can help me, but I can help you. And the thing is that I can help you, but I have to be with you, and we don't know how to work around it.
Yeah.
And so that's where, because he's spilling everything, because the poor dude, like he's over it.
Well,
and he's just crying.
She finally starts explaining everything, because like this whole episode 9 is just a bunch of exposition. Like it's super being like, I was just eaten by some weird ass fucking bunny rabbits. I don't know what the fuck's going on. My little asshole was eaten, and she's like, yeah, those are one of the great 3 mobbies of the witch of gluttony.
And I know I was saying about cool like monster design. Yeah, I think they went a little lazy on this one.
You
the
think
bunny?
So? I think the bunny's cool. I just don't like how the fights play out. Like, I think it's a totally terrifying fucking monster that it's a hive mind, that the more they eat, more of them grow. I think that's fucking scary.
Yeah, I think it's how they described them in the novel, too.
But, like, the last fight with them at the end of season 2, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
See, in the novel, I imagined it a little bit better.
Did you?
Because I read it up here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But yeah, and she keeps going. She's like, okay, that's one of the 3 mobbies who already fought the white whale. I ate all of the witches of sin, and they all live with me inside of Windows XP land. And if you want, if you want to talk to Miss Daphne, the witch of gluttony, about her stupid bunny, you can if you want to.
Yeah.
And Subaru's like, yeah, I'll do it. Bring that bitch out here.
And then Typhon is the one that decides to jump in.
Yeah,
they're swapping out, and then Typhon is the one that just hops in right away.
Because they share, like, Echidna's consciousness, kind of. So only one of them can be active at a time.
At least that's what you think.
That's what we're told.
That's what we're told right there.
Yeah, that's what we're told. But then, so you're right. So instead of the Witch of Gluttony comes out, we get Typhon, the Witch of Pride, just comes out and just starts punching. Well, was that how she was introduced, right?
No. Typhon is the one she goes.
Is that a green-haired little girl?
She's the green-haired lolly. So she sits down, and the thing is her power is essentially if she basically punches you, or no, you shake her hand.
Is that Hendo from
and
JoJo?
It's kind of kind of. The thing is she basically touches a person, and then she activates her requirement. Like she says it, like verbally says it, is like, if you're a sinner, she's like, wow, you must not be a sinner because you don't feel any pain. And then, all of a sudden she's just holding Subaru's arm, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's like, what is going on? And then he loses his leg, and he's just there, and he's like, what is going on? And he's just shattering. And then Typhon is there, and she's like, well, you see yourself as the bad guy, but you're not. You're really not, and that's the thing, is it's kind of like explaining his character to the witches, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, well, gotta go by. So she vanishes, right? Then my girl comes in.
Minerva?
This blonde chick with a ponytail comes through.
Yeah.
Just yelling and screaming and punching.
She's crying.
That's how you know she's Wrath, because she's just seen as like the strong one, and she walks in and she just heals his arm. Or whatever.
Yeah, she does. What's the fucking name of Josuke's stand again? Star. No.
Not Star.
Diamond.
Platinum. No. Whatever, Diamond. Diamond.
Shining Diamond, I think.
Is it Shining Diamond?
I think.
I'm making that up. Okay, keep going.
And that's the thing, is like she just punches and punch. All of a sudden he's repaired.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, haha. She's a
JoJo.
That's a JoJo reference. Crazy Diamond. That's the name of it.
So then we finally get to meet Daphne.
Yeah.
And we still have no idea why these other witches were in the frame, like, at all. We're just like... But, like, Daphne character's design, I hate it because it's so fucking witch tacky. Like, so she's gluttony, right? Because she's gonna fucking eat you and everything else.
Yeah, she's basically confined in her tomb thing, yeah.
Yeah, she's in, like, a mummy sarcophagus-looking thing, except it's purple and black, and it has these giant robot spider legs, and that's how she's walking around. And she's wearing, like, a blindfold, too, because, like, if she sees you, then she's gonna break out of this contraption, and she's gonna eat you.
And then she has, like, a little, like... Drool on her mouth all the time.
Which took away... Because, so we're describing these other ones. Typhon was pride, Minerva was wrath, and they're, like, superficially that sin, right? This is the only one that's like, this bitch is gluttony. This bitch is gluttony. And it's just... It went from being, like, an abstract concept to being, like, the only thing I was thinking about while drawing this character was gluttony.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, the thing is, too, is that she even says it, too, like, while he's asking about the mobbies, how to go ahead and kill the white rabbit.
The great rabbit.
Oh, sorry, the great rabbit. The white rabbit. It's the white whale. The great rabbit. She even says, she makes a side comment of, you smell so good. Remember, Mobby's like the way that he smells.
Because he's got the witch's scent on it.
Yeah. So she basically does the same fucking thing. And then he finds out their hive mind. He's like, and then Daphne basically she basically says, I have a lot of expectations for you. just because it's you say you killed one, I don't believe you, because she doesn't she's not like Echidna where she knows.
Yeah,
she doesn't see it. So she's like, I have hopes for you. I was like, yeah, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what happens. So we'll go. Echidna comes back, kicks him out. Well, no, he goes out.
Yeah, because so Echidna comes back. She's like, okay, you learned everything we need to learn. Later, I'm not gonna make you forget about this interaction this time. So next time you need me, you're just gonna need to scream harder. But like in the background, we see like these purplish shadow looking things and this bitch in a robe with like some peeking white hair coming out. So then he's back in the sanctuary, and like. He goes out.
Everything is like covered with this black fog.
Yeah, and everything's covered in this black fog, and that same witchy looking chick from inside Windows XP land is there. But like we know this to be the Witch of Envy.
Yes.
And like I'm reading the wiki. This is the only reason I understand what happened, because it says right here, as punishment for talking about return by death, Satella, the Witch of Envy, possessed Amelia and killed all his friends. Yes. That is in no way explained in that episode.
Well, the thing is like remember when he wakes up, Amelia's not there.
Yeah.
You have to like they don't blatantly tell you. You kind of have to like pay attention to context.
Yeah.
Because it's okay. Amelia's not there. Everything's black, and you see though it gives the entire flashback of the Witch of Envy.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well she became possessed and is now the Witch of Envy, and so she goes in and she does. It's a lot of context. You have to like even reading the wiki like it's you just have to like.
And that was hard to know. I don't know how it's supposed to pick up on that. Because, like, that's the end of this loop right here. Is that, like, Satella, while taking over Amelia's body, killed everybody. And the ending of this episode is her just looking at Subaru being like, I love you. I love you. I love you. And again, like, I'm just bitching about, like, Echidna and everyone else falling in love with this nerd for no fucking reason. And then here we go all over again. Our first official introduction
to Satella was like, it's been known since, like, season 1.
Well, yeah, but like, come on, like, so this is like,
but it's been known since season 1.
This is like the 8th bitch that in like his first or second interaction with them is just like madly in love with the guy.
The second one, technically, no, she was the
first. This is the first.
I'm sorry, she's the first one.
But like, that's what I'm saying. That's so annoying. But anyway, so whatever. We
keep that in mind. Like her, like it's her. She explains it later.
So, but like, it's not even like the end of the loop here. You would assume this is how a loop would normally end. But what Echidna basically explained to Subaru was like, dude, you have to stop treating it like none of this shit matters, because you need to treat each reality as if it is the reality. It's fucking Loki metaverse shit.
Yeah, she's basically saying stop treating it like a game.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is like it's when Subaru dies in this, because he still is. Remember, if you remember that white handkerchief he was given to by Petra, right?
Yeah.
It's glowing as she absorbs him basically. everyone's dead, and it's glowing. And keep in mind that for some weird reason, like Echidna was like, she held it and she's like, I'm just gonna touch this, like this is my payment. And so they go over it, like in his inner monologue it says, oh well, did she know? And so he does that, he kills himself, and Satella reveals himself, and it's you have to look at it, but it basically shows it's Amelia.
Yeah. That's like the big reveal, is that like, oh fuck, it's fucking Amelia. Yeah. And me thinking it wasn't our Amelia, I thought it was just a bitch that looked like Amelia. It's not until Amelia. Like this conversation that I'm like, oh,
actually Amelia.
Yeah, like it's Satella taking over Amelia's body.
Yeah.
But so then he comes back again.
He comes back, but this time he's like mortified by trying to like touch Amelia. Yeah. Like he does not want to touch Amelia, and it's this time, instead of him trying to comfort her, she's trying to comfort him, even though she still had a bad time.
Right. So she tries doing the trial again, and he's just kind of exploring the sanctuary on his own this time. And this is where he finds like this pink-haired bitch in a container, or like this crystal. It's that Ryuzu chick.
It's Ryuzu, but it's not Ryuzu.
It's the
Ryuzu,
original
it's
Ryuzu.
The original Ryuzu.
The Ryuzu.
The Ryuzu.
The original Ryuzu. Because so we have another Ryuzu in front of the crystal of a Ryuzu, being like, "Hey, I'm a clone. Echidna used to run all this shit. I'm basically her apprentice, and I'm the result of like
of experiments." And that's the thing, is that's where you find out Sanctuary was. That's where kind of like the irony comes in, because it was never a sanctuary in the first place.
No, it was fucking Echidna's hunting grounds. Like
it wasn't even the hunting grounds. It was fucking her lab.
Yeah. Which is like the most fucked up part of this whole thing, because then we start getting backstories on Beatrice, Ryuzu, and
Roswell,
because they were all like her students, assistants, her daughter. Who fucking knows?
It's Beatrice it goes over it later, but Beatrice is the spirit that Echidna created, that she formed a contract with. So she's by default. Beatrice has to call Echidna mother. You find out later on that Roswell is the biggest simp for Echidna.
Yeah.
I was like, he's the biggest simp for
because
Echidna.
He just kind of like stumbled onto her little village and Beatrice and all this shit, and he's like sick all the time. He thinks he's a sickly dude, but then she has to explain to him, well, she makes out with him first. Yeah.
They have the total, like, that total's a fucking hentai kiss too. Like, it was like in the tongue, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, they're showing the tongues, like,
and it's like the saliva pulling out, and I'm like, oh.
And the thing about it is, it's like a
they were
it's like hentai, because like she's an adult and he's meant to be like a teenager in this scene, so that's what makes you think of like these weird ecchi scenarios more, because it's like the normal ecchi scenarios would be like, it's always like a schoolgirl in a schoolgirl outfit, like, and like this weird older dude. But here it's the opposite, and that's where he goes full simp. He's just like, oh, my first kiss is with this hot white-haired witch bitch who's thousands of years old.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he just straight up simps for her.
He goes full mommy mode on her.
Yeah, he's like, mommy. He's like, mommy. But I mean, and I get it. It's just, I get why. I just don't understand why he had to go full simp. That's the one thing.
Because he's a child. That's what I got out of it. He was a teenager.
He's a teenager.
Dog, that's still statutory rape. What the fuck are you talking about?
If 18 is 18!
I don't think he was meant to be. I took it as maybe he was like 15, 16.
I don't even know.
The way, and like, I'm not seeing any numbers anywhere, but like, when I took it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was gonna connect to your point. Like, it's like fucking Elvis dating a 14-year-old to mold her to the wife to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to, like, if you're fucking 40-something and you're getting an 18-year-old...
It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's all these people. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, Leonardo DiCaprio, he has like 6 long-term girlfriends, but they all look the same. He always scoops them up when they're like 18, 19 years old and breaks up with them by the time they're 29. It's happened like 4 or 5 times with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's a fucking weirdo.
That's a little weird.
So that's what we're saying. That
he's grooming in that.
It's taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. But anyways,
I mean, that kind of. I mean, it. If you so coming like going Giga Brain Echidna mode. You have to think she probably wanted to do it for a reason, and she did.
And she did.
It's because she wants everything. You know what I mean? She got the strongest spirit.
She's the witch of greed.
I don't even know how Ryuzu was connected to her. She was just like her assistant. She got the strongest human who's Clown Boy, I already forgot his fucking name.
Yeah, Roswell.
And like now they're all obsessed with her. And it's what I don't understand about this point is why Ryuzu or the clones of Ryuzu are guarding like the same sanctuary and just going along with all this. Like I don't understand.
Because they're bound by it.
See, that's so superficial, like motivation. Like that's such like cheap writing. It felt almost.
It's the thing is that you have to remember, like it's that crystal because the web novel like explained it because it's first off like in the web novel they did not explain it as like some random tomb. It looked more like a factory.
Conversation. I barely understand like what it happened, why it happened narratively. It was just an exposition dump, kind of.
So, like I said, it's an exposition dump. So it goes ahead and it's just dumping a bunch of stuff, just kind of like trying to speed the plot, right?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's too much to go over. And then we go ahead and I believe we go to let's see. As I remember correctly, we're on episode 11.
Yeah, we're on like episode 10, episode 11, something like that.
Yeah.
Because in episode 10, that's where
that's the exposition dump. Yeah, I know where we're at now. So it's so like he goes ahead and he's like, all right, well, he finds out he's an apostle of greed.
But like, so Amelia's all fucked up from her failed like trial runs, right? Because she's already tried 2 already at this point because she's trying it every night. And she's all fucked up in the bed. Puck still isn't back, so she can't even talk to her father figure. And that's where we finally get, like, the first heartfelt conversation between Amelia and Subaru, where it's just her crying and sobbing and just, like, just hold my fucking hand. And Subaru holds her hand, and, like, she thinks every time he's previously said, like, I love you, I'm so about you, that, like, he's fucking playing her. He's just fucking weird, right? But he's like, no, like, I really think, like, you're the dopest person ever. And we get more of this a little later, which I know we keep jumping like between episode and episode, but like a little further on, there's like a scene that builds up off of this one where she's talking about, dude, you don't even like me, you don't even know me, I'm the worst person ever, I have all these fucking flaws. He's like, no, I know you have flaws. That's fine. I love you. Like besides that, like if anything, that makes you you, which is every fucking rom-com
harem shit.
Yeah, like so. It makes sense, but this is where she finally gets her, like, her giddy up. Like, this is her motivation to really complete the trials is after this conversation with Subaru.
Yeah, and the thing is like, it's kind of hinted, but he looks at the crystal.
Right.
Again, in the novel, Puck and, they skip over it, but Puck and him have a conversation.
Well, Puck says, like, bye to Amelia, because he pops up, like, right there. Yeah.
Okay,
for like a brief second,
like skip past.
Yeah, like for like a brief second in the bed, and he's just like, Mealy, like, don't be mad, but I can't tell you why I'm leaving, but I'm kind of gone forever. Okay, bye, peace. And then like the crystal on her neck breaks.
Yeah, and that's where it's like best dad award goes to.
Yeah, he just abandons her.
Yeah, best dad award goes to.
So then Amelia's like, okay, I'm gonna do the trial, whatever. And then Subaru, because he knows the timeline, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the mansion. I gotta go save Betty because I know Elsa is gonna fucking murder all the maids over there, and I gotta make sure everybody's okay.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this is where we go to Emilia's like past trial, right?
We're almost there. I believe
we're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there. It's like in the second half of the season where they start going into her trials.
Okay.
Because on his way to the mansion, he's stopped by Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because like. After Subaru now like isn't afraid, but he is afraid because after talking with Echidna, he understands that Return by Death's lives are infinite. But the ending of episode 10 is like Subaru convinces Garfield to let him go. But upon reaching the mansion, Subaru already notices that Federica and Petra and he grabs the 3 maids with Rem's like fucking soulless body and runs towards Beatrice. And I don't even know where it goes from there, because episode 11, The Taste of Death, is like Subaru takes the Tome of Wisdom from Beatrice and finds out that it's blank, because the ending of episode 10 is he just goes into the library.
Yeah, and she has it. That's the thing, is like at the very end she has it and she's looking at it. And so what Beatrice does is she goes and she flips it and she's like, she basically at that point in time she's explaining like, okay, this basically hasn't been written in so long. Are you that person? It kind of like explains a little bit more of Beatrice's backstory, but not that much.
Not that much, yeah.
It's just a little teaser because her stuff is all at the very end. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing is to go ahead and she goes ahead and she super, but Beatrice she just doesn't like the answer. He is, are you that person? No, yeet.
Yeah, she kicks him out of the library
like, every time.
Yeah, they have like some sort of like piece of dialogue that's like, oh, are you that person that you're gonna be there for me forever or some shit like that? And then yeah, she fucking yeets him out.
And then he dies. Well, he meets...
Well, no, this is where they meet the mob beast tamer.
Yeah, they meet the mob beast tamer. I was just like...
So she...
TLDR.
So he grabs Beatrice. He has all the rest of the maids. They're running away. And they're, like, crossing into the forest. And that's where we meet, like, this purple-haired little girl that was one of the villagers from season 1.
Because it's Frederica and Petra were already supposed to be on the way to the village, or already at the village. Right. And so it's just her and Subaru. I don't remember how she convinced Subaru, how Subaru convinced Beatrice. But they went ahead and they left. And that's where they meet the Mouse Tamer Melee, which Melee is actually from season 1. Yeah. She's one of the little girls in the village. Mm-hmm. And so she explained, she's like, oh yeah, Petra's my friend. She only died relatively quick. She died relatively quick.
Which is super fucked up because, like, Subaru even is, like, dumbfounded here. He's like, I fucking saved you. Like, why did you do this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's again, it's just all the plot twists because there's just twist. And so Subaru's like you said, he just felt dumbfounded. He's like, I saved you. Why did you do this? I saved you. And she's like, yeah, well, sucks to suck. Yeah, and Elsa comes in. Murders
Beatrice. Yeah, but like Beatrice. So in this go through,
Beatrice wants to die.
Yeah, Beatrice wants to die, but in this go through, Subaru's only motivation was to save Beatrice this time. Mm-hmm. She sacrifices herself, teleports with the little blue crystal that Frederica originally got, teleports Subaru back to the sanctuary. Yeah, but it's snowing again already. So we kind of already know that, like,
the bunnies are
the bunnies are on the way.
Yeah, the bunnies are on the way, and I mean he
gets fucked up again. Yeah, he gets eaten again.
Yeah, he does. He eats again, and that's like basically it's the taste of death, and it's
Well, it's not even that. So like, Amelia's gone full blown crazy from failing the trial so much. Garfield is convinced that
this Amelia... is Yandere. Yeah, I remember. This is Yandere Amelia.
Yeah, so she's going crazy. Garfield's convinced that Amelia's the one making it snow because she has fucking snow powers. Yeah, and then Subaru gets the bright fucking idea out of nowhere that this was all. What?
No, he doesn't get
Roswell.
He doesn't get the idea. He goes and he checks. Says, remember. Garfield's like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, well, I can go in, so I'm just going to go check. He goes, he peeks in, and Amelia has, like, this purpley glow to her eyes. And he walks out and, like, yeah, it's not her.
Yeah, she looks mad, like a witch. Yeah.
She is like, yeah, no, it's not her.
So then Subaru goes talk to Roswell.
Yeah, he goes talk to Roswell. Roswell, basically, that's when he pulls out his own... I call it, if I remember, I think they call it, like, the Book of Knowledge. Mm-hmm. He pulls out his own Book of Knowledge. It's
Tome of Wisdom.
Tome of Wisdom. I call it the Book of Knowledge. It's the same thing. I was like, it's the same thing. It's just how I read it. Was a Book of Knowledge. It's the Tome of Wisdom.
And that's where Roswell is just like
he reveals. Yeah, he reveals that he's basically
he sent Elsa and the Assassins because he wanted to. Because that's like that mad scientist kind of mentality. Like, he's gonna motivate Subaru by killing everybody. Or making him work so quickly to save everybody that Subaru's going to unlock some greater fucking power or something.
Yeah, and that's what, because the thing is like and it kind of like here it kind of hints that when Roswell dies, that version of himself does, but the other one, because it has the book,
he can just read what happened last time.
Yeah, he just reads and he just rereads it and he just corrects it. And so that's the thing. And then he walks out, he gets mauled.
Well, it's because Roswell describes that the Great Rabbit is attracted to, like, the greatest, like, magical energy in the land. Which is Roswell right here. Yeah. Like, originally, the bunnies are coming through because Amelia's gone crazy and she's releasing all this crazy, powerful magic. Mm-hmm. So, but, like, Roswell...
But then it was revealed that it was really just Roswell just summoning stone.
Yeah. So then he kind of sacrifices himself because he knows, like,
he knows he's dead.
He knows he's just gonna come back anyways, though. He's just like, okay, Mr. Subaru, so now that you know everything, it's time for you to decide. Tell next me whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like, tell the next me that, so it's like, tell the next me my regards, dies. And then he himself also, like, you see it. It kind of shows, like, it shows him getting mauled and how mutilated he got by the bunny. By the bunnies.
No ass eating this time.
Yeah, no ass eating, but like, dude just straight up bleeds to death. But Amelia, you can see Amelia's not Amelia. Amelia's like, I love you. She's acting more like Satella, which that kind of tells him is like, okay, well, that's not.
And I think one of the reasons it was kind of confusing to me, but also kind of not confusing, if that makes any sense, was that at this point and all the different motivations that he has now up to this point, it's starting to make sense of the story to me and not anything like Lord wise. Like, to me, as a first time watcher, I'm viewing this and it's just, okay, it's making sense now that he's trying to save everybody. Like, he's trying to save Beatrice, he's trying to save the maids, he's trying to save Amelia, he's trying to save what's his name, Otto at some point.
Yeah.
So it just makes more sense to me as a watcher now at this point.
Well, and it's part of that last conversation he had with Echidna too, was that Echidna was like, you can try to save everybody else, but you really need to protect your own sanity or you're not going to protect anybody.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to be stuck in this loop for forever.
It's remember how, like, the overarching theme of, like, season 1 was, like, become a better person, but more of the overarching theme of season 2 is, like, learn to love yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Because, so he respawns. And he's starting to go a little crazy again.
He's starting to lose it.
And he calls out to Echidna.
Yeah.
So then he's back at the witch's tea party all over again.
Yep.
But instead of that, he gets, like, the second trial.
He gets, this is where it becomes my absolute most fucking favorite part in the novel, which is Behold an Unthinkable Present.
Oh, yeah.
It's Behold an Unthinkable Present, because what I adore about this is it shows all his deaths. And the novel goes over every single fucking death he has.
Yeah.
It's here you get the TLDR version.
Yeah, but it's clear that, like, it's what Echidna's been trying to describe. It's like, dude, like, after you die, there's a timeline, there's a space of reality where everyone is still learning to live without you. All those dozen times you just stabbed your own fucking neck to reset that shit, everyone around you had to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and that's where it really actually shows as the first one. Because it's me as a novel reader, I know it, because the thing is like, it's, Amelia gets so sad, it's what happened to Sanctuary happens in the capital. So it's just imagining it was really a great read. That specific chapter was, like, so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Then it goes to Rem. They cut off dialogue of Rem talking. They cut a lot of people off. It's too much to go over. And then he basically it's basically learn to love yourself, because there's still everyone, like you said, everyone around you is picking up the pieces. You're leaving worlds that people, yeah, sure, to you it's a joke, but to everyone else there, it's not.
Right.
So it's the Amelia that you leave broken, she's still broken. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the puck that everyone's there is like it's the one part that I do like a lot is where it shows where it's the World Destroyer puck and it's Reinhardt and it's the one quote that, like, remember that quote because it comes up later on, is a hero's all you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the thing is like it's, and then eventually that's the only way he can die. Reinhardt has to. It's keep in mind he's at that point in time, he's only unsheathed his sword like 2 other times.
Yeah,
to use its full potential.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he goes back and he's like, oh shit, maybe you're right. And that's where
Echidna tries making a contract with him.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is the part where
because she's like, I'll give you everything I want, like everything you want to accomplish, like you can do it through me right now.
Yeah,
and
she makes it really pretty.
Yeah, because like he's only seen her as like kind of helping at this point, and he has no. Like, he almost trusts her, even though he knows that she's a witch. Because he even says it, like, several times. It's just
like, I don't understand what part of you makes you a witch.
Yeah, I'll never understand you people, because... So, he's in the witch's garden. He's talking to Echidna. He's about to do the contract. The Witch of Lust is there because she dragged him out of the trial. No, Lust.
Oh no, this is that's where
Camellia or whatever.
Carmilla, because it's what she does is she appears as Rem. Mm-hmm. She appears as Rem, and then he remembers is like, oh well, you're not Rem. Rem wouldn't say this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then he's about to make the contract, and then all the other witches pop out, and they're like, "Don't fucking do it, Subaru. She's fucking lying."
Yeah, that's essentially what they're all doing.
That's why we're all here.
Like they're all like she consumed them all, so they're all their consciousness live inside her. But they're all there, and they're like, just don't do it. She's not as pure-hearted as you think it is.
She's a fucking... she's the witch of greed. Don't do it.
Yeah. And it's... What makes it so unfortunate is because, like, it's in between the first trial and the second trial where there's a chapter called The Witch's Tea Party, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
It actually goes over... It's the witches actually all talking to each other. Talking amongst themselves.
That'd be cool.
It's so unfortunate they didn't, because the thing is you find out... You learn what happened to... It's like you were wondering how... Minerva, the Witch of Wrath, why she has her name when she heals people.
Well, I thought this episode was cool, though, because, like, it's, like, a few different things. So, it's that green-haired lolly at first is the one that's trying to get him to stop, right?
Mm-hmm. It's Typhon.
And then that's when she starts, like, deteriorating him again to, like, get him to stop making the contract with Echidna. But then the Wrath bitch, Minerva, comes through, heals him again.
Wants to heal him.
Right, he wants to heal him because she's like, I like Subaru so much, I want him to do whatever he really wants to do. And then the Gluttony bitch comes through, and then she starts fucking up Minerva, and it's because they're all, like, trying to help Subaru, but in their own way.
Yeah, they all have, like, it's the thing is that their nature shows is that they're all wanting to help Subaru, but they're all doing it with their own motivation in mind. So it's like Skemmet, because the thing is like in terms of power level, Skemmet is the most powerful of all of them.
Which is Skemmet?
She's the witch of Slop, the one that's always lying down, and she goes after everything. Because the thing is like she just sits there. Because remember, Minerva is about to go reach. Yeah, Minerva's about to go heal him, and boom. Like Minerva is just stuck on the floor, and she's just there.
Right.
She's if I remember correctly, the author said that she's the most powerful one out of all of them. Then second comes Minerva. And that's the thing is they all want to do it for their own reasons. It all shows. And that's when he looks around. He's like, "You're all batshit." Mm-hmm. He's like, "You're all crazy. Every single one of you is crazy. Like in your own right mind, you all think you're right, but you're not." But they all, it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they're all, but the one thing that they're all very united on is they do not want Subaru to make the contract with Echidna.
Because Echidna does have to come clean right here. She's like, you know what, to be honest, I kind of just want to take advantage of your return by death ability. And then she explains like this, because Subaru was asking questions about Betty. He's like, "Why? Who the fuck is this person Betty's waiting around for?" And
she was like, "I did it for the lulz."
Yeah,
that's what she did.
I just ruined 400 years of this spirit's life. I just wanted to fuck around. I just wanted to fuck around and have her waiting around for absolutely nobody and see if she would really do it. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what happened. And so now we have like renewed motivation from Subaru again to go save Beatrice. Mm-hmm. Which has like been his motivation for the past like 10 episodes.
Is this where he makes the bet with Roswell?
It's the next one. It's the next one, and it's the thing is what it finishes off with Satella coming out, and everyone
goes hush hush as soon as Satella comes out.
It's only the thing is it's only there you can see what witches fear Satella, and the other ones are like. Because Typhon's like, "Oh, Satella's here. Everyone's here." Mm-hmm. And the thing is that they don't explain it, but in that tea party, in that one on the novel, they explain how much Echidna hates. That's why she does not like Amelia's, because she hates Satella.
Why does she hate Satella so much? I don't get it. Because you're right.
Satella killed her. It's personal. I mean, I get it. It's kind of revenge. Mm-hmm. It is.
But yeah, so like if you think about season 2, it's these two parts. It's like part 1, part 2. Part 1 ends like the end of like this last fucking scene where Subaru realizes that Echidna's a sociopath.
Yeah, and this Echidna makes this long, detailed like, okay, that like 30-second speech or like 1 minute speech like was a full whole like 2 pages in the novel. And so that's the thing is like she reveals her true nature and is basically like, I want to use you, but you're my experiment. Mm-hmm. Like it's like I said, like I understand. Like I said, I mean, she's not wrong. It's morally questionable, but she's not wrong.
She's not.
It's in terms of getting information. But the thing is it's like Satella goes ahead and she reveals herself. Basically, Subaru looks at her and is like, I'll save you too, because he's like, I'll promise I'll save you, because he realizes that the Witch of Envy and Satella are two different people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the Witch of Envy. Notice it. That's what you have to always like. It's kind of something you have to pick up on. Is whenever that big black figure comes in, it's the Witch of Envy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But when they revert to Satella, it's Satella.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They don't say Satella, the Witch of Envy.
Because everyone else is like, their actual personality is their sin. Satella becomes fully consumed by her sin and becomes like the Witch of Envy.
Yes.
And so you're right. So like the very last scene before he jumps out of fucking Windows XP land is he sees that Satella's face looks exactly like Mealy. He's like, oh, okay, that's fucking weird. Oh, and on the way out, Echidna's like, yo, you no longer are allowed to take trials again. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah. she's like, I'm gonna take my payment. Thanks.
Yeah, and now you can't do this no more.
Yeah, and then that's where it's what, the 2 episodes later, that's where he finds out. He's like, he tries to go and bonk.
The second half of this episode is probably my favorite episode, because I wasn't expecting it. Because, like, it seems like it's winding down, even though I know it's like 13 minutes into the episode. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? But so he goes back to the Roswell. Both of them know each other, know everything about the loops, whatever. And this is where, like, Subaru finally gets it. He's like, you're the one that fucking told Elsa what day I was going to be at the mansion and to get there beforehand so that she could kill the witches. Mm-hmm. And Roswell's like, ha ha ha, that was my motivation that whole time. But in the room, while he's explaining that, is Rom and Otto, and Roswell, just being a fucking asshole, just starts murking everybody just to fuck with Subaru's head.
What I found really funny is because, like, okay, so he punched the hole, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that the Japanese voice actor is also Dio.
Nice.
So up here, I'm like, he did the Dio thing.
Yeah.
It's like he created a hole. That's just a fun fact. But also, the thing is it's funny because you have to, in the novel, you'll find out later on the big thing where Ram has Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, pretty much.
She has Stockholm Syndrome. But the thing is like, they intentionally put it in her face, and I do like that part, because it's like they put it in her face, and you notice where she's like falling down, but she has like this blissful face, like she's just glad she's dying.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, again, foreshadowing that she has Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, real bad. But, like, the thing about what we even know from season 1 is that Roswell adopted Rom and Rem, like, when they were children from the Ogre Village or whatever the fuck. And so, like, it's not only Stockholm Syndrome, but, like, we know that he feeds her mana, or feeds her energy through, like, the horn she doesn't have anymore. So, and he's always sitting her on her lap, like she's this little fucking lolly maid. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's really molestery.
It's weird. I can't.
Like, she's sitting on daddy's lap and, like, sucking his energy. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
really
this shit's
weird.
not cool. Like, it comes off real fucking sussy.
Out of all fucking things, like, that looks. And I mean, realistically speaking, like, when you have a kid, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna put him on your lap every time. It's like on his knee or on his leg. It's not like right there, because they pan to it like about way later on. And that's the thing, is they go ahead and she dies, he dies, and then they go ahead and they do the bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They go ahead and do the straight bet. It's funny because the thing is that it's fun fact about the very first part 1. The chick who did the first season, the OP for the first season, came back into the OP for part 2 of the first season.
Right.
The chick who sang the OP for the second season, or for part 2 of the first season, also sang the OP for the OP of the part 2. But so, like, they had a band, and that's the straight bet is one of the songs, and that's actually where it comes from. That song that plays is actually that song.
Mm. Yeah, but what is the bet? So, like, it's just Subaru just telling... Like, Roswell's trying to tell him, you can't save the mansion and save the sanctuary.
Yes, he's basically... Roswell's like, you will not do this period, because I can see into the future.
It's that fucking Spider-Man mentality where, like, you have those two people on the side of the bridge or whatever.
And then Gwen Stacy's neck gets broken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't save everybody.
But no, yeah, and I believe the bet it's that he's like, okay, cool, I'll bet you anything that I can save all the hoes, and all you gotta do is throw away that book, or like give it away, or some shit like that.
The base. I think if I remember correctly, the bet is that that they can't hurt them ever again.
Something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. And so this is where the plot actually really starts picking up, because it's...
Well, not even then, because we get, like, a bunch of standalone episodes going to Emilia's backstory, going into Otto's backstory. Right when I think it is picking up, like, you're right. Like, the pacing feels so much quicker, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's a whole episode about Otto as a kid. Here's a whole episode about Emilia as a kid. And I'm just like, fuck, like...
And, okay, I can get through the Emilia one, but the Otto one, I'm like...
I hated the Otto one. I hated that.
That's why it shows he's best boy.
So like, they go into, like, half of Emilia's story first, right? It's just like, so she really is, like, the daughter of an elf or something.
Yeah, this is, like, that's the thing, is what I really don't like what the anime did, is, like, it went bounce, 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 versus, like, what I read was, like, linear. It was just one whole thing, and then it was like, okay, next, one whole thing, next, one whole thing.
Yeah, because in the anime, it's like, okay, cool, straight bet. Second half of that episode is about Emilia growing up as a kid, and she was in, like, an elf village, and we meet the sloth dude, except he's a regular fucking human.
Yeah, but he's
now.
actually... He's actually normal.
It was the adopted parents of fucking Millie.
Yeah.
And that's where you find out is, like, it's the person who... her name is
Metal Keys?
No, the mother,
his aunt mom.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Off the top of my head, well, TLDR.
Mm-hmm.
She goes ahead and they're like, okay, stay here, stay in this room, but it doesn't happen yet. So they go ahead and they describe Otto's backstory in the next one. It's like, all right, because the thing is they go ahead and it's
He grew up, like, in an affluent family.
He was rich.
Yeah, he was rich, but, like, his parents had a bunch of kids, but they thought he was the one stupid one that, like, maybe hit his head.
He was the runt.
Yeah, he was the runt that hit his head too fucking hard, and he came out crazy, and he couldn't speak.
Because he couldn't speak, but he could talk to the animals.
Yeah, because he was hearing the voices of all animals all the time, so it was driving him absolutely fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until his older brother taught him to read and write that he could communicate with his parents that way. And that's where he learned to, like, tone down the voices in his head. Mm-hmm. But he was... See, you're right. I hate the Otto episode because it's like, so Otto confronts, like, the voices in the head. He learns how to control the power to talk to animals, and then out of nowhere he gets beat up by this older boy. It's like, hey, stop hanging around my girlfriend, pussy.
What happens is like he goes, like, they're like, oh, well, apparently you can talk to animals, prove it, or talk to insects, or whatever, and then, like, I think it's a roach that comes out and he talks to it.
They're like glow bugs,
and they're like, what the fuck? And that's where they lose their shit. And then that's, if I remember correctly, like, his family disowns him from that point on.
No, it wasn't after that. It was, in the anime. I don't know about the light novel, the manga, the whatever.
I could be getting ahead of myself.
But, like, in the anime, the way it happened is, like, he conquers all that. His family loves him again. This boy beats him up and is like, hey, you've been hanging out with my girl, stop hanging out with my girl. He's like, dude, I don't even know who the fuck your girlfriend is. Otto asks the bugs who the fuck the girl is, and the bugs tell him that she was thought now. So, like, Otto goes back up to that boy when he's with his girl. He's like, yo, you're the 8th dude she's been with today. Like, I get the fuck away from that hoe. She was the daughter of the man that owned the village, like, the noblest of the noblemen in the village. So that's what kicked them out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, like, he got kicked out, and then he went ahead and he ran around. He just started trying to make a name for himself. Like, you find out, like, it's still very early in his life.
Yeah.
When
he's like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, he gets cast out.
I think, like, legitimately speaking, like, I think he's, like, 15. I don't know his actual age canon, but I think it might be, like, at this point in time, 15, 16. And he goes and he tries to establish his name, and I think in the anime, like, he's 20 by the time he meets Subaru. And so that's when it goes up to a part where he meets Subaru, and then, of course, we know the story from there.
Yeah, and it's just so what Subaru starts to realize is that now, like, so we're in this new loop, right? We're in this brand new loop. Everyone's alive. We know what Roswell's doing, all that shit.
We know Kid does intentions and everything.
So Subaru realizes that he needs to start producing allies if he doesn't want to reset again.
Yeah.
So he goes after Garfield. He's like, Garfield's the strongest one in the sanctuary. If I can get Garfield on my side, maybe I have a chance out of it.
And Garfield's not fucking with him still.
Yeah. Different timeline, different Garfield, all that shit.
Yeah.
Garfield's still like, you're a fucking pussy. I'm going to beat you up.
And they get into a fight. They get into a fight where he walks out with Amelia, right?
If I remember correctly, what happens is that they go ahead and it's daybreak of God knows what day. And what happens is Subaru tells Otto, and he wants to go and ally with Ram. And
hold on. Right before that, I know what we missed. So, like, right after the Otto flashback, what happens is that's the scene that I was trying to describe earlier, where Amelia is hiding inside of a hallway in the sanctuary, and that's where Subaru like meets up with him, and she's like, "Puck isn't here. Where the fuck?" So it's that continuation of that bedroom scene where she was like holding onto his hand because she was upset that Puck left, and that's where like Subaru gives the whole like, even if you're a fuck up, even I love the negative aspects of you. They kiss.
Yeah,
which is like a really big deal because like Subaru this whole time is just always staring at her lips because he just wants to kiss the bitch, and finally he just goes for it and she doesn't reject it, which I thought for sure was going to happen because she's always like, oh, you're weird ass baka, get the fuck away from me. But then she kind of like leans back in on it. I'm like, oh, like I haven't bro, we haven't watched a slice of life in so long. I just wanted some fucking romance trash. What? And I'm like, oh, they kissed, they did it.
And then, isn't like after like towards the end there's like a joke like that Puck told Amelia that's how babies are made.
Yeah. So you're right. So then they do that. They walk out of the sanctuary, and that's where they meet up with Garfield.
Yeah, and then they go ahead and that's where you find out where Otto and Ram were going ahead and just trying to keep him busy because he just needed time, and he got the time he needed. So he walks out, confronts Garfield, and they find out where Garfield's like entire fear of trying to leave Sanctuary comes from. So that's the thing is like it happens, and that's where we talked about the Sloth Authority. Where he literally punches some sense into him because he's like, you know, you're not like this. You don't want to kill me, and he's like, no, I'll fucking do it. Punches him in the face.
Yeah. Which the Sloth Authority, what you're talking about, is just like this metamorphized hand that comes out of his fucking gut.
It is
just like, and Subaru just punches him with this ghost hand that comes out of his tummy.
It is the hands that comes out that you see every time, like in the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Petzogies, yeah.
So then, right. So they knock Garfield out. Garfield wakes up on Rom's lap. Subaru wakes up on Amelia's lap because like Subaru almost got knocked the fuck out by Garfield too, but like he just took it on the chin, and that's how we're like, oh, he's really about it in this time. Like, oh my god, go Subaru, go.
Yeah. And there's this whole like energy with Millie and him, like, if you can do it, I can do it, and they just go about life from there on.
Well, what they end up all three of them, including Otto, I think Otto's here somewhere. They end up having a heart to heart with Garfield, and they're like, dude, like you said that you could have taken this trial. Oh, we get a flashback of Garfield and Ryuzu. When Garfield was a child, he tried taking the trial, but it like fucked up his head so much.
That's how he got his scar.
He did this giant fucking X-shaped scar on his forehead from just banging his head on concrete. And that's where, like, everyone convinces him is like, dude, like, go back and take the trial. Like, and maybe you're the one that'll tear down the barrier, and maybe we can get the fuck out of here. Because Amelia's exhausted. We need to give her a break anyways. And that's where he goes in, and that's where we get Garfield's backstory. Like I'm saying, like, every time it picks up a little bit, we're, like, dragged back into another
backstory.
I mean, I get it, because it has to explain. Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, in the novel, it's just a shit ton more linear. Yeah. It's just, like, linear. But the thing is, like, yeah, he goes in, he walks in, and it's like, okay. He finds out why his mom left. Right. Because the entire time he thought it was his fault.
Because the first trial is a trial of the past. Yeah. Which we've been describing with both Amelia and Subaru. And it's just about, like, how Garfield and his sister were just dumped off at the sanctuary, and the mom dipped out, and they found out some rocks landed on her head a few days later.
Yeah. She was like, she was trying to leave, and immediately when she left, she was like, her entire carriage was part of a landslide. Mm-hmm. And to his knowledge, she's dead.
No, yeah, absolutely,
but he finally accepts his past.
But like he finds out the real motivation behind it, wasn't it? Like she didn't leave for the sake of leaving.
Yeah, she didn't like. It was like, here's my kids, I'm dipping out. She left like, I'm gonna go find your guys' father.
Right, because like she just dumps the kids on Ryuzu Mayer, the pink-haired chick, and is just like, hey, I'm gonna go find your dad. And that's where Garfield's really like, oh, fuck. Like, my mom really did love me. Like, he was basically treating himself like an abandoned orphan.
Yeah.
Which he never was, technically. Like, he is an orphan, don't get me wrong. His mom's dead. But
but he doesn't know.
But he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So we finally get Garfield's story. Garfield all of a sudden is all about Subaru.
Yeah, because he has his entire moment of enlightenment.
Yeah,
because he's like, I get it, you were right, so I'm gonna be on your side.
Yeah, and he starts calling him boss.
Yeah,
he's like, the boss said this, the boss did that. Come on, boss.
Yeah, very Looney Toony.
Yeah, and this is where Subaru's like, why the fuck do you call me boss? We're the same age. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm 12.
Oh yeah.
No, I think it's what happens is like, why does he call me boss? And Ram is like, well, he's 14, so like Ram's just like,
because Subaru's 18, right?
Yeah, Subaru's 17, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Or he's gonna turn 18 like sometime.
And then now Subaru sends him out to protect the mansion.
No, hold on. He does, but then we get
almost there.
We get another backstory right here.
Oh,
this is where Amelia walks in, and
walks
at the end of this. It's at the end of episode 16. Amelia walks in, and that's where we get her past. That's why I said the OVA is super important.
Yeah.
Because Frozen Bond shows us like, okay, well, she blamed herself the entire time.
Right, because so in this one, like in Amelia's backstory, she's being hyper protected by this forest village of elves.
Fortuna, it's the mom figure.
Fortuna, yes. Thank you.
Fortuna, yeah.
That is trying to keep everyone away from Amelia, including human Petalgoose before he goes fucking sloth crazy. Yeah. And she has this high affinity for talking to spirits, and she's all getting into these little shenanigans because she's following around these little glowing spirits all the time. And then one day she finally does meet Peltagoose, and
he flips his shit.
Yeah, he flips his shit, and in the anime, we're never explained why, like, he knew about her already, but why he was being kept away from her. Because Fortuna, like, straight up tells him to his face one time, is like, no, I don't think you're ready to meet Amelia yet. Like,
well, it kind of shows, because remember the entire time he's like, is the seal protected is a thing, and it kind of shows, like, later on, it's literal, next episode or something?
Yeah.
Where Amelia is holding the key to the seal.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly, it's just to protect that part.
Right.
It's the entire context thing. It's like, okay, well, so they were keeping him away because, the entire witch thing, and they thought they were all on one side, which then they found out they weren't.
Right, so this is where she gets her faux parental group, which is like her aunt, Fortuna, Petalgoose, who everyone assumes is their date.
Kind of like the
father figure.
Yeah, the father figure. It seems like everything's all happy.
But then the village is like raided by those archbishops that destroy
this time
Rem.
it's still this time it is the archbishop of it's still
it's that same Regulus, right? Yeah,
it's still Regulus is still there, the archbishop of Wrath.
Yeah,
but this time you're introduced to another archbishop, but this one is now she's absolutely overpowered in terms of.
No, she's an actual witch, isn't she?
No, I think she's another
Pandora?
Yeah, Pandora. If I remember correctly, I believe she's another witch authority.
Well, she's okay, but before
all the witches are dead, they're in her conscience, so she's another witch authority.
So, but right before that happens, the Archbishop Petalgeese, before becoming Petalgeese,
before he becomes actual Archbishop.
He has a cube or a box, right? That he was only meant to use whenever shit was crazy.
Yeah, something like that. And then he says, he says someone's name. I'm sorry. And then he absorbs the authority, and that's how he gets
the sloth.
Yeah, he gets the sloth authority.
Yeah.
And that's
trying to save Fortuna and Amelia.
Yeah. Because a fight breaks out, and that's when, because Regulus is like in terms of overpowered, it's really hard to tell who's the most overpowered one because it's like as long as Regulus sees you, he blocks anything. He can block it. He can go and like cut your arm off. Just like it's
Greed.
Oh yeah,
It was greed.
Yeah, it was greed.
I don't even understand why they want to go after the seal. Because, like, when they show the seal...
I want to kill the world.
It's... But, like, what's behind it? They never explain it. It's just a door in the middle of the forest, this giant metal door, and Amelia's the only one with the magic key, so...
See, that's the thing, is, like, legitimately, I don't remember and I can't tell you.
That's what I'm saying. It's never
I don't remember
explained.
and I can't tell you, but
all I know is that Pandora murks everybody and like, drags Amelia in front of the door seal, and is like, pull the key out of your butt. And Amelia's like, I don't got the key in my butt.
It's not that she even dragged her to, it's because the thing is like, okay... So while they're running away, you're introduced. You finally meet the last mob beast of third great mob beast, which is the great snake.
Oh, that's right.
Which is the
black serpent.
The black serpent, yeah. The black serpent, which it goes ahead and you see it in action where Archie runs away. Archie's running away, trying to save Amelia because it's what Fortuna asked. And Archie takes in the ankle and he burns up. Yeah. It's, again, the novel just graphic. He burns up and he asks Amelia to run to the trees. And Amelia, in her infinite wisdom, is like, well, if I unlock it...
She's also like 10 years old.
Okay, well, she's also a child. But still, in her infinite wisdom. She's like, well, if I unlock the key...
She's like, hey, Pandora, just leave everybody alone if I give you exactly what you want.
I'll unlock it. Yeah, I'll unlock it. And so she goes and she runs and Pandora's there. And Pandora's like, okay, well, you're bound by this. Amelia's like, I'm not going to do it because I'm bound by this promise. I made a promise to my mom. And it's funny because the thing is, if you remember, like in season 1, it's a bunch of foreshadowing. Because in season 1, you remember how Subaru broke Amelia's promise?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what she was like, no, like never again, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This kind of shows the reason why. That's again a little small thing that I caught that I really like and I love. Is just because the amount of detail that really like has to go into, because you have to you have to recall a bunch of things from season 1 to like actively remember season 2.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, I think that's why you said that like when you were wanting people that were like immediately going to season 2 right after, right?
Yeah.
But when people were like tweeting this, yeah. That's why. Yeah. Because you won't remember, you won't forget anything, you're just going into it.
It's so much.
It is so much.
Because, like, does Pandora actually open the door? Or what?
She doesn't know.
She doesn't, right? But, like, to defeat the snake and to stop Pandora and the Archbishop dude, Amelia just kind of freezes everything.
Well, the thing is remember, Petricus comes out and he's like, okay... He's like, I see you, but his eyes are entirely... they're covered in blood.
Yeah.
And so...
Oh, that's right.
He mistakens Pandora for Fortuna.
And he's in love with Fortuna.
Yeah, and he just absolutely wrecks Fortuna. Just another hole just...
Yeah, in the anime it was just a hole through the chest kind of thing.
Yeah, a hole through the chest and blood gushing both ways.
And then his eyes clear and he's like, okay, cool, I did it. Oh shit, who killed Fortuna?
Yeah.
Did I kill Fortuna?
Yeah, that's essentially what happens. And then Pandora was like, yep.
You killed Fortuna.
Yeah, you did it.
You did it, bro. Way to go, dumbass.
And he just goes crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because the thing is like, you witness the change because that's when you see his entire voice change. And that's where it's like, okay, well, That's when he turned into Mad Petal Goose we saw in season 1. Yeah.
Which, super obsession with the Witch of Envy, right? In first season?
It's because remember, it was like, oh, you did it for love, and remember, he was like, love.
Yeah, exactly.
Love. And that's why his
infatuation. But then it just turns into this crazy thing when I'm thinking about season 1 that it's like, oh, well, his infatuation was with a witch or because Amelia was her.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I almost thought it was because he was obsessed with Amelia.
Exactly.
From that point onward, I'm just like,
I think it was because I think it was because he became obsessed with Amelia because she looks like the Witch of Envy.
Right. And yeah, that's the entirety of Amelia's backstory. Is she froze her whole fucking village to stop Pandora, and like the Archbishop dude fucking got away, and so did Betelgeuse. But like, so she murdered everybody, and she changed the entire ecosystem of this lush forest she grew up in,
and makes it all snowy.
And she just like locked herself into some ice crystal for a few years, and she woke up, and Puck was there, and was just like, "Hey, I'm your new daddy."
Mm-hmm. It's funny because that's where exactly where it leads on to Frozen Bonds.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, it's there, and you even get like Frozen Bonds like scenes, but that's where you watch Frozen Bonds. I was like, okay, well, that's in time. That's where Frozen Bonds is taking place.
Right.
Which is before of all this, but so, that's where they go ahead and they say, okay, well, your memories weren't your fault. It was Pandora who wiped your memories.
Right, because this is the trial. This is, like, a kid that is there the whole time being like, wow, you're so fucking annoying. Look at your past little self being a little fucking dumbass. Uh-huh. Look at how stupid you look right now. Yeah. and it's just Amelia being a good person the whole time, being like, oh, shucks, shut up, kid, no, whatever. Uh-huh. But, so did she pass the trial? Was that the last one?
Yeah, she passed the trial. Was not the last one.
It was
because she had to pass all three. Remember?
Mm-hmm. So that was her second one.
That was the first one.
Oh fuck! That was her first one. I forgot because that was the past.
Yeah, that was the past.
You're right. So then, does it immediately pick up on the second trial from there?
Oh, so it doesn't pick up from the second trial. So it goes ahead and it's they go ahead and they start splitting up. That's where. They go ahead and it's like, okay, we're gonna go to the sanctuary. We have to beat Roswell at his bet. So they're
going to the mansion.
Yeah. So we have to go to the mansion. Just go ahead and take care of Amelia. So it's Garfield, Otto, and Subaru go ahead and start going. They make their way to the mansion.
Right.
And that's where we go ahead and we start getting into the next episode, which is episode 21, where it seems that they're going to... well, first off, before everything, they go and they tell Roswell, we're succeeding. Uh-huh. Like, okay, just give up now. And it's another fucking JoJo reference. He's like, I will not, because of... I will never give up my humanity. I won't give up something, and it's like some fucking JoJo reference. I call them JoJo references, they're not actual references.
And then he holds the book and he tries to throw it into the fire or something like that, right?
Yeah, he starts reading and he starts noticing that's starting to change. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what? And he's like, okay, well, I'm still gonna win. I was like, because you still have to go and you still have to save everyone at the mansion. Ha 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 ha. They're already on the way. And that's when we go ahead and get to episode 21, where at the very end of episode 20, it's actually, I think it's in the middle, where at the middle of 21, where Garfield and Frederica go ahead and meet together.
Yeah.
And they go ahead and they start fighting because it's like, okay, well, because Elsa's trying to kill Frederica.
Right.
Petra's there. And she's just freaking out because she's like, well, I have to save Rem, but
because somehow Garfield gets there first. Because, like, you're right, it's Frederica fighting Elsa for a second, and Elsa's a crazy bitch, so she's just playing around with her, and she's like, ha 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 ha, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna just fuck around with your guts a little bit first. And then, but Garfield pulled out some iron gauntlets out of nowhere?
At the very well, in the sanctuary, they played with some gauntlets while they were kids, and these iron gauntlets is what him and Frederica would play with. So she would attack while Garfield would defend. So that's how he got the title Defender of Sanctuary.
In the narrative, it felt like such a what's it called when there's like a narrative cop out, like it's almost too easy, like a Deus Ex Machina. Like, it comes out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just exactly what you need in this situation. He just managed to remember it from his childhood, and here it is.
It's like, do you remember this gauntlet, sister?
And that's the thing. That's where it's like a lot of changes from the light novel and the web novel differ. Because there's an actual... Like I said,
it actually fits around the narrative?
Yeah, it explains, like, how they go ahead and they find it. Like, it's like, if I had more time to go and talk about it, like, if you ever want to go to the ReZero wiki and go to like the differences between
just go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you'll see the entire rabbit hole and you'll be there and you'll be like, holy fuck, they changed a lot. It would have been better if they did this. And You're probably gonna be right.
It reminds me almost like the same, and not this much, not in this case, but like in Berserk, for example, like what we covered on the Berserk episode, there was a lot of like innards that explain things in the animation without explaining things in the anime.
Yeah. You know? You said innards, and we're talking about Elsa. You're gross.
Yeah.
Anyway,
pun intended.
Pun intended. Anyways, so they're fighting Elsa. The mansion is getting fucking destroyed. Like, there's fires raging.
Monsters.
Floors are being torn through. And what's her name? The little girl?
Melly?
Sorry, Petra.
Oh, you're talking about Petra.
Yeah.
The maid,
little
Petra.
maid?
Yeah, Petra's there.
That's why I was like, Melly or Petra?
So, yeah. They tell Petra to run because she's an unpowered little 11-year-old girl.
Yeah,
and they're like, get the fuck out of here. And she's like, where the fuck is my love? Where the fuck is Mr. Subaru? I miss him so much.
It's like, just on time, he shows up.
Yeah, another Deus Ex Machina. He's right fucking here. Like, right exactly when we needed him.
This later part of the anime, that's when I was watching, and I was like,
This is the reunion of rowers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly where we are. And so, yeah, but then we get that mob beast, not Hunter, but that chick that can control mob beasts.
It's not first. I think she's writing. They call it like Rocky Hippo, which is not the actual.
Oh yeah, the fucking hippo.
It's not. That's not the direct translation. I was like, that's not what it's called.
What the fuck was it called?
Oh, that's what I'm trying to look at. I was like, it was not. That was another like translation error. I was like, dude, that's not cool. It was like actually called some like super badass name, and I was like, oh man, Rocky Hippo, and I'm like,
oh, her name is Melee, right? The mob beast,
the Melee
tamer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and this whole time we know Subaru is still trying to get to Beatrice because this timeline's Beatrice is still alive.
Yeah,
and he knows that Echidna lied to Beatrice just to like waste her time, and then this woman and Amelia's just there all happy, like, oh look, my parents are alive, everyone's so happy and alive, and
then it's funny because it happened to me at least like 4 times like throughout this last episodes that you would look away, and because of we're on a fight and
Amelia, can you help me? Please help me do what I want to do, which is her desire.
Right.
And then it goes back to the mansion.
Yeah, we finally go
it's
back
like
to the
it goes
mansion.
back to the mansion. That's where like the badass fight happens, where it's
we get it goes immediately. It goes back to the melee fight, the Mobby's tamer or whatever, and there's that giant wolf-looking one with horns called Guilty Low or whatever.
Yeah, Guilty Low.
And so everyone's freaking the fuck out, and they're like, "How the fuck are we gonna fight this thing, bro? We can't beat that."
And that's what it was. It's the reason why they're saying they can't do it is because it's Otto, Petra, and Subaru.
Yeah, it's all the unpowered people, or all the Subaru's powered, but basically unpowered. Like
at that point in time, it's nothing.
We didn't even talk about it, but in one of the deaths in the mansion from one of the previous reincarnations, the Guilty Low is what killed Subaru inside of the mansion because Subaru didn't even understand how it got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and at the same time, the mansion's still burning down.
That's how they kill it. It's because they set it on fire.
Yeah, because that's right. They set
it on fire.
Oh, because Otto throws oil on it.
Yeah, because he's trying to go like some Breaking Bad chemist stuff, making I think it's a dust bomb.
Yeah, Subaru tries making a dust bomb.
And it fails pretty
because
bad.
Like super fine dust is supposed to like spark in a way that like it makes an explosion. But like he's an idiot and doesn't actually know chemistry, so it doesn't work.
Isn't it so funny how the story, it's almost trying to tell you like a very intricate like Steins Gate kind of plot with time travel, but it doesn't feel like time travel. It puts you multiple times at the same spot in the mansion.
That's why it feels like a video game.
But you don't think about it. For me, didn't really. I didn't really feel like I was in the same spot again. It just felt like I was at the same spot another time.
It's kind of like pause, and it's kind of like that, like how Konus would like hits its commercial breaks. It's like pause. It's like okay, then you're back on pause. That's kind of how I felt when I was watching it.
No, exactly, and so that's how they defeat the Guilty Low, or like it's burning alive. It's in the process of being defeated.
Yeah,
but Subaru still needs to pull Betty out of the fucking library. So like when Subaru knows that there's a secret door inside of Roswell's room.
It's inside of I think it's a secret door where Amelia locked herself in,
right?
And she basically froze she froze, and that's where in season 1 he touched the door, and that's where his hand got frostbite.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
It's where his hand got frostbite. And so that's the thing is that but at this point in time, everything's on fire
because all the doors are burned down. He's like, "Fuck, I'm never going to be able to get back to the Forbidden Library again."
Because he walks in. TLDR. Beatrice says no, yeet. And this time that door burns down, and then he goes to the secret door because it's by this time Melsa has already defeated Witch.
And she was a vampire.
Yeah,
that does matter.
It does. During that fight, they reveal that she is like part vampire. And that when she was young, she was going to get raped. That's what was going to happen.
She was sold to a vampire or something.
She was sold to someone and she was going to get raped. And then she tore out his guts, and the guts, that's when she found out. Which was like, that's why I like the warmth of guts.
Do you see what I mean about all these backstories right in the middle of a fight? Like, we can't even finish this one fucking Elsa fight without having 5 different backstories just shoved the fuck into it.
That's the thing, is like, that's what I say, is like, it's a lot. They had to condense like so much in like the last like 3 episodes. Like, it's super condensed.
And Garfield was the first one to notice she was part vampire because like he would slash her face and she'd immediately heal.
And she said it too. And the thing is, he caught it right away. He's like, "Oh, I read a book about it, but I've only heard of one person having it." And it's like, oh, he's not as dumb as you think he is.
Yeah, and like the only reason he's able to win is because like he goes like berserk mode and like actually turns into Tony the Tiger again and just squishes her all at once.
Yeah, he turns into Tony the Tiger and he throws the hippo.
Yeah, he carries a hippo.
Oh, that's right. That shit was hilarious,
and
bro.
he just like suplex it on top of him.
Yeah, and that's the only way to kill her as a vampire. You gotta kill her all at once.
Big old hippo. Yeah.
See, and it's really funny because the thing is that like in the novel, she's not dead at that point in time.
No,
she's.
Is she
while
while
Subaru is actually going to the to that door, he's chased by her. While she's burning alive. So how that implies is she died by getting squished.
Yeah, by the way.
In the novel, she burnt alive.
Oh, that's a cooler ending.
Okay. It was the thing is again you couldn't animate it. It was like, what, 2 episodes left?
Yeah.
I was like, it's 2 episodes left. You can't animate that.
So back to Subaru. He goes into the Forbidden Library this last time, but you can see that like the alternate the pocket dimension space it's in is being burned apart with the mansion, and he's just like, "Betty, let's get the fuck out of here." And she's like, "No, I gotta wait for the invisible nobody that Miss Echidna told me to wait for."
You've been playing for a fool. Get out.
And Subaru's like, "You've been playing for a fool," and she's like, "Well, no, but I still have my contract." And if the thing is I think her contract is to protect the Forbidden Library. And the thing is that what happens is they go through. It's this really nice speech where Subaru's like, "I'm not gonna pick you. Like, I already made my number one. My number one's me. Like, get fucked." It's like, get fucked.
And Rem is still being fucked this whole time.
Rem is still a potato.
She's just a potato on everybody. And what's funny is like in episode
pass
23,
it over.
they keep passing it around. Here, Otto, take Rem. Here, Frederica, take Rem. Here,
like a sack of potatoes.
Like that's why I was like, dude, she's a potato. Like at this point in time, you can honestly write her off. She's just a potato.
But Subaru ends up convincing Betty to get out of there by making a contract with her because he finds out that she is a greater spirit.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so then what do I got to do to get you out of here? And he's like, make a contract with me. And much in the same way, because he understands how contracts work, because he saw how Puck and Amelia like interact with each other, right? And
so Beatrix turns into her Puck, his Puck.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
they go ahead and it's they go ahead and they enter their contract, but the thing is it looks like everything's gonna burn down. It's the name of it's Choose Me in the book in the novel, like
Choose Me.
How he actually like explains everything, because again it's another TLDR moment, but like how he actually explains it, it still did go through the anime too, which is like he's like, you're not gonna be my number one, but you know you're still a life worth saving, you know, blah blah blah, and he eventually convinces Beatrice. They all think they're dead, and they see a light burst up, and they go and they start flying, and they're going to the sanctuary. And everyone looks, and they're like, okay, well, they're going to sanctuary, so we'll go ahead and we might as well start going our way there.
Right.
At that point in time...
Because at that very, very same time, Amelia, like, comes out of the final... What was the future?
She comes out of her final... It's the future... Okay. This one is actually super fucking important.
I can't even remember what it was.
The future is that there was a bunch of... she walks in, and everything turns black. Everything turns black, and all of a sudden she's teleported to this place, and she's like, I never thought I would be you would be the person I would be fighting, blah blah blah. And the thing is you hear all these lines, but as a reader of the fucking novel, I can tell you those are lines that come from way later that are really, really important events.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, is like me being what I was still a novel reader. Everyone like in the fucking chat was flipping shit because they're actually gonna go ahead and actually continue it, because you hear multiple voices, just everyone talking. Everyone's talking, and that's the future. But the thing is that she goes ahead and at the very end of it, she goes and she ends up at the tea party, but a kitten's out there.
Right.
And so she hears this voice from behind her, and we know it's Minerva.
Right.
But it's not.
Oh, that's right.
Minerva keeps her head looking forward.
Yeah, she did like the gun to the back kind of thing. It's like, look forward. And
there's actually a reason why, and they go over it too. She's like, well, are you my mom? She's like, well, I'm not your mom, but I have a very deep connection with elves.
Yeah.
So it kind of hints that Minerva and the elves did something.
Yeah.
And so they go ahead. They just talk. They're talking about, is this the actual future? Is this what's going to go on? Minerva was like, it's one of possible futures. And knowing a kid now, she likes to bully you, so it actually just might be fake.
Yeah.
She's like, it just might be fake. And so that's the thing, is like, I forgot what.
I remember Minerva started crying, and I don't remember why.
No, well, the thing is it's really weird, because Minerva turns around, she's like, you are my mom. And Minerva just starts crying, and it kind of like, it's really weird, because it kind of hints that she might be, but that's the theory. Like, I personally, we don't even know. Like, well, they're gone. They're deleted from existence.
See, because that's what I was waiting for too. Because from season 1, everybody's like, "Oh, you're like daughter of the witch."
But we're talking about the Witch of Wrath here. Minerva's the Witch of Wrath, and like I think the Witch of Envy is the one that everyone reminds Amelia of.
Yes, but because I knew the Fortuna and pre-crazy Poltergeist was their FO parents.
Yeah.
It's the question of who her biological parents.
And they still never explain it here.
Exactly.
But yeah, so Amelia walks out, and like, it's frozen again. So we know, like, the fucking bunny's on the way. And
it's in between, because there's one part we did forget about going into this. She still had to help Ram.
Oh yeah,
man! And this is the entire part where Ram is like, "I love you, Roswell," and I'm like, "Dude, out of all people." That's what I was like when I said Stockholm syndrome.
But see, that's what I mean. It's because she was primed as a child. That's what gets me so distraught about like the Roswell.
And I think a little bit before that, or I don't know if it was at this point, Roswell tells Ram, right? Ram.
Yeah,
Ram.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, well, remember that night in the village? That was me." And she's like, "Oh, cool. I still love you."
Because this is happening at the exact time, because Puck is in a crystal with Ram, and they go confront Roswell.
They're trying to like,
and this is where we really learn that Roswell's a badass fire mage. Which, like, this is one thing I did want to bring up. I don't like how. The Japanese, the Japanese and like anime and manga treat magic, because like I've watched maybe like the first 150 episodes of Black Clover, and like you know how it is, each family or each person has their own specialization in magic. I feel like when I grew up, I always had like that Harry Potter mentality, where everyone could learn every other magic spell if you just put your mind to it.
Well,
you know
the thing is they're going through. He holds the orbs in his hand, and remember, it glows green, red, blue, purple. Like, he can control every single type.
But like, he favors fire.
At that point in time, because he was in ice, yeah.
But what I think what we're just talking about is that in most animes it's treated like that. And yes, I completely understand.
Like Amelia and Puck, it's just like ice magic.
But like, even in Harry Potter, like, you know that Harry is a potions guy. You know that
everyone has their specialty.
Yeah, you know that.
But everyone can do everything else.
But Hermione is the one that is like putting in the work to know everything.
Yeah,
and that's what I think we lack, or I want to see in more anime alchemy driven one, because we talked about this in the Full Metal Alchemist. You have the infinite power of alchemy, and you're not
you're choosing this one fucking thing.
and you're choosing this fucking one thing in comparison to One Piece, where you have rubber power, and he's able to do like all this crazy shit.
Yeah, it feels really one dimensional, and it's like wow, I can't even remember what I was gonna say, but they're making a what's the castle called in Harry Potter?
Hogwarts?
There's a Hogwarts video game coming out.
Hogwarts?
Oh, yeah, Hogwarts RPG, yeah.
There's a Hogwarts RPG coming out next year.
Have you guys played the medieval online game?
Which one?
No.
The hit MMORPG Final Fantasy 14 Online with the free trial all the way in.
There's a new one that is just fucking funny, but I'll talk about it later.
Anyways, whatever. What are we talking about? So Roswell is fighting Puck with Rom. Right. So and Rom has limited magic because her devil
horn is gone and she only controls wind.
Right. Okay. Awesome. But like Puck is like the end dragon. I mean the end demon. What was his name?
He like the
he's
great
the beast
spirit.
of the end or something.
Like, yeah, something.
And we see him in the background, all blacked out, as a big fucking monster for like a panel, for like one panel.
One panel, but the thing, and you can see the fear in Roswell's eyes because he's like, oh fuck,
yeah. But
he's like, I don't have enough power for this.
But then like the view pans more out towards Puck, and he's just like big.
Yeah, he's just big fuzzy Puck.
He's like, I'm fucking with you. I'm not that person right now.
But so like he ends up beating Roswell, but Roswell almost ends up killing Rom right here.
Yeah.
And that's the really fucked up part, because like Roswell has been convinced this whole time that he was just kind of using Rom for his end goal, which was Echidna, but Rom's always been Roswell this whole time. Even there's pieces of dialogue like 5-6 episodes before this where they're asking Rom, like, why the fuck are you helping us? We're against Roswell right now. And she's like, well, I'm convinced Roswell's gone crazy, so for me to turn him back... He
has his delusions. I need to get rid of something because he's... It's this one thing is controlling, which is the book.
I can change him.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, I can change him.
I can change him.
I can change Senpai.
It's like I can change him.
I can fix him.
But yeah, so he almost ends up killing Rom. He's all fucked up. He loses to Puck. Rom's dying. So like when Amelia comes out of the final thing, like Rom's just like laying in his lap dead. Roswell's all fucked up.
She's almost dead. She gets the book and throws it in the fire.
Both almost fucked
up. And she goes, yeet!
Yeah, she throws it in the fire, and then Roswell's like, no, but I have Rom, so I guess this is my new reason for living.
He's like, oh, well, I guess I'll try to heal you, and he's like...
Yeah, he
doesn't, like, he lost his entire sense of, like, what he should do in life after that. So that's the thing, he's like, well, fuck. And I think it's at that moment where he's realizing he might lose. Because he's like, oh, fuck, I lost the book, like, what do I do? He's like, oh, I guess I'll heal Ram. That's where he was healing Ram, and that's where Amelia shows up, and then the rabbits start showing up.
Oh yeah,
Amelia, she already passed all the trials. She goes to the crystal, and that's where the clones go ahead and look at Ryuzu. There's two of them that are dressed differently. One's in black, the other's in white. The one that's in white is looking at the crystal. It's like we're gonna transport it somewhere. It's fine. But the black one's like, she's crying, and I think it's because it's these two, they share a conscious, and it's essentially this one is going to lose, well, part of them. So they go ahead and all the clones go out, and they're like, okay, well, Amelia, because she has the authority now, is like, okay, we'll go ahead and carry him back to the villagers, because it's all snowy.
Well, Amelia also walked into the fucking Snow White cavern of, like, Echidna's corpse, with all the magic wires coming out of it.
It's I think that's her knowledge.
How did she turn it off?
She got the stone away.
Oh yeah.
Oh true. Yeah.
She got the stone from thing.
She pulled the plug.
Essentially.
And pulled the plug on it, and that's how the barrier's gone.
It was like, and the barrier's gone, and she's like, well, I was like, all right. So they go ahead and they all run off.
So the ending of episode 24, we're hitting like the climax very late, very 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 late.
Yeah.
So
Amelia's in front of the tomb, and then
there's all the bunnies. There's all the great rabbit bunnies, and they're all like, "Oh shit! How are we going to defeat all these rabbit bunnies?" Because the villagers are all behind Amelia too, like standing behind the trial too, or the sanctuary or whatever. And they're like, "Well, what are we going to do?" And then, of course, Deus Ex Machina, like
I mean, it was told with Subaru with
the timing. The timing was too convenient. That's what I'm saying. The timing was too convenient, is what I'm trying to say. Because then, out of nowhere, here teleports Subaru with his new contracted Beatrice Great Spirit, and they're holding hands. And I think it's weird how chummy they are right now, because it's like she's sitting on his lap, they're holding a lot of hands, and even Amelia looks at them like, "What the fuck is this?"
Going on? I was like, yeah,
they're holding hands, but they went over it. Like they're like, okay, well. They didn't exactly entirely explain it.
That's what I mean.
It's kind of hinted. The thing is that she is drawing power from his gate,
his boner,
his mana. Fucking god, his mana is being used for Beatrice because she was tied to the Forbidden Library. That was the source of all her mana.
Right.
So now. Well, now she has to use something else, and now that proves out Subaru.
Yeah.
So every time, like, even going into, like, and later on, they're always holding hands.
This is where we get that super tacky boss fight that Aldo was talking about. So, like...
Yeah, it's a really bad fight.
All the bunnies are in a field, right? Just this blank patch of snowy field.
What do? We're gonna make a square.
Yeah, so they make a cage around them because... Amelia,
they're pretty dumb.
Amelia and Puck have fucking ice magic, or who's doing the ice pillars?
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia's doing the ice pillars to like lock them in a cage.
Oh no, that's Beatrice, and then it's Beatrice and Subaru who are making the square, and then Amelia makes the ice.
Right. So they're like isolating the bunnies in a square, and then Amelia's making a ice cage around the bunnies. So that they can murk them all at once, because the only way to beat the Great Rabbit is to kill all the pieces at once. Mm-hmm. So then Beatrice, because she's OP now, I guess, I don't fucking know.
She's always
she transports them all to a pocket dimension.
Well, I was never made to believe that she wasn't OP. She was just locked in the library.
Yeah, she even says it. She's like, "This is my first fight in 400 years." So she's like,
so okay, you're both right. I'm sorry, my fucking bad. She raises the platform of the bunny cage they made. And like she teleports it all to a different dimension, and
they start eating. The bunnies all start eating each other alive,
right? Because they're cannibals. So they all just start eating each other. Because even Subaru was like, "Well, aren't the bunnies just all going to live in that other dimension?" And she's like, "No, like that's the curse of the bunny. Like they're just going to all start eating. They have
to eat something, but they're going to eat each other. They're going to eat each other out of existence."
And that's the ending of.
Like our big monster.
Yeah.
The boss fight, which is
they made a cage. Like that was it. We don't get cool cutscenes. We don't get like a bunch of action. It's just like, hey, we made a square.
It's just super like saying the same cast spell, like something, ice walls. There you go. We're done.
And it sucks because this is like the final fight.
Yeah,
it's the final fight, and every fight like before has been actually really good.
And they didn't bother to put in a flashback in this dumbass fight, just like in the other previous 3 badass fights that I wanted to see continuously.
Whole thing happens in 15 minutes.
Exactly. I wanted to see like a big Elsa fucking fight. That would have been cool.
No. This is actually reading that fight was really.
And in the last episode, all it is it's a knighting ceremony for Subaru. Because
it's a knighting ceremony. For Subaru.
But we do get the kissing pregnancy joke.
Yeah.
Yes, because Puck. As
a fucking protective dad.
Yeah, as I almost said Elsa, but as Amelia's dad, like doesn't want her to fully know what sex is like, if you ever kiss a boy, you're gonna get pregnant, and then it's gonna become an issue. So the ending of episode 24 is Amelia looking at Subaru being like, what are we gonna do about this baby? I'm pregnant. And Subaru's like, what the fuck?
It's like, did I forget that? Who took that memory from me?
And Amelia's like, yeah, because we kissed. And so the ending of the episode is just like Super being like, God damn it, Paul!
It was great. I like that.
The thing is what I really want to find, what I want to call back to is Yandere Amelia when she was trying to kiss Subaru.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing, I'm like, was she trying to do the thing? Was she actually trying to lock him down? Like, I'm hearing him like...
Yeah, because you know that she had that knowledge of that, so she's like, yeah, I want to make a baby with this dude.
So now they do it, like, official, like...
Subaru's officially knighted, and the thing is it's... before they just... kick Roswell's ass.
Yeah, they each take a turn just beating the shit out of Roswell.
he basically they're all like, well, how do we know you're not going to do it again? And then he takes off his shirt and he's like, you see this? He's like, it's a curse.
Painted a curse on himself.
It's a curse, like magic with like a curse on top of it. He's like, basically, if I break it, my soul's gonna be on fire and I'm gonna be sent to hell.
And he's just promised to like never hurt anybody in this group.
Yeah, and it's funny because Subaru's there and he's like, well, what happens if I lost? Well, this would have been on you. And he's like, ah.
If I had lost a bet, I forgot it was a bet. I was just doing it.
He was here and he was like, what the fuck?
So they have a wedding ceremony without it being a wedding ceremony.
Yeah, it's a knighting ceremony.
Because it's a knighting ceremony, but like I'm calling it a wedding ceremony because Subaru is dedicating himself to Amelia.
Yeah, just like Felix in the first episode was dedicated to, what is it? Krush.
What I find really interesting is like it's specifically the little dialogue that goes on between Roswell and Subaru, because he tells him, he's flat out tells him, he's like, just because I'm on your side, he's like, I know I made this promise, but the thing is just because I'm on your side, I still want to play to my advantage.
Yeah. All right.
Like, he's basically straight up telling him he's there, Subaru's there, and he's like, fuck.
And then, as they were taking turns beating the shit out of Roswell, I just wanted to go back to that. Fucking Ram takes her turn to, like, paddle him, because...
Ram's there, and he's like...
Stockholm Syndrome. She's like, leave him alone, guys.
She head pats, and she's like, even though he might have done anything wrong...
A lot of head patting in this fucking anime. A lot of witches.
A lot of
bunnies.
A lot of witches, a lot of bunnies, but... I don't want to go over the OVA too much because it doesn't add too much to the real plot. And we're already at like 3 hours on this bitch.
Well, no, the thing is, there's one thing I do want to add, because the thing is that there's one thing that the anime cut. And me being the fan that I am, they haven't announced season 3. But this is
Super gets his ass eating again.
No, but the thing is, I think it's called the Omega chapter. It ends with.
That's another witch, right? Omega?
No. It ends with the Witch of Greed rises again.
What?
Yes, she's not dead.
What?
Yes, she comes back.
Okay, well, Echidna is a fan favorite anyway, so whatever.
She is, but the thing is that she's not in her original body. She's actually
what?
You remember the original?
Spoilers, Sean. Yeah. Spoilers.
Well, anyways, it's not even that. It's at the very end of the movie.
Anyways, I want to give a big thank you to John Michael Venegas for talking about ReZero with us. This episode's been long enough, so we're not going to do a nerd down, but we're going to be back at our semi-regular recording time this weekend.
Yeah, I don't have any Father's Day left, so.
Well, I'm raving in downtown Saturday. So,
nice.
But we'll record either Friday or Monday, meaning the next episode after this episode should be back out on its regularly scheduled time on a Monday. We are going to be discussing a recommended anime by one of Aldo's friends. It's called Hinamatsuri. Came out about 3 years ago. It is produced by Studio Feel, the same studio that produced my teen romantic comedy Snafu. I was watching a trailer about it. I was watching a Mother's Basement video about it. It's a comedy. We haven't talked about a comedy in a good long while. Mm-hmm. It's about like
Food Wars, I think, was our last super comedy one.
Maybe, and that's like for fucking ever ago. So I don't even fucking know. And just at the tail end of this episode, I just want to remind everybody to please use hashtag LGBT Nerds in an original tweet or Instagram post to be automatically entered into our June giveaway. For every like or retweet on tweets or Instagram posts that use hashtag LGBT Nerds, we will be donating to the Borderland Rainbow Center. Please don't forget to send us questions, comments, or concerns to @BetweenNerds on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, or email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. What am I missing, Aldo?
I think that was all, and I believe that was we're almost about to hit our year, so I don't know what we're gonna do for that. So,
and we're almost at episode 50. Like episode 50 and like a year in are happening at like the exact same time.
So on number episodes, we already are past our 52 episode.
Oh fuck me.
Yeah. So with the extras, with the pilots, and with other add-ons from Lloyd's archive, we're already at, I believe, 54 episodes with this episode.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir. So we have kept up with a 365 days of putting an episode every week, and that's 52 weeks.
What do you think, John?
That's a lot of anime.
It's a lot of anime, right?
You guys have watched more anime than I have in the past year because
and that stuff sucks. And like, I know I'm trying to wrap up this episode, but I just think it's wild where like I meet people in the real world and they're like, "You don't really watch anime. You haven't seen this," because like we've talked about that a lot in like the original episodes. Is that like anime nerds are such prudes about anime that like no one is as much as an anime nerd as they are.
The culture is very weird because they're very like
because everyone's a shut-in need.
It's not even that,
but it's social.
They're very elitist.
Yes.
But, okay, here's what it is. This is because trust me, because I fucking experienced it with ReZero a lot, and in the Monogatari series, it's like you'll hear so many fights over the watch order, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is everyone's like, oh well, you have to watch it this way. Everyone thinks they're a professional reviewer.
No,
everyone really does, and then you have...
We do.
Yeah, and we did until we started doing it. Once we really got like 30 episodes in, we're like, wow, we don't know shit about anime. But anyways, thank you, John.
For anything, let me do a plug. I do have a Twitch channel. You all know my Twitter. It's StrixR117. Please do follow. I'm gonna start doing stuff there.
What are you gonna be playing?
The hit MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV Online with the free trial all the way to level 60 with including the critically acclaimed expansion Heaven's Word, which it's the meme. Don't ask why. So, I sound like an advert, but it's a meme.
So please follow John on both Twitter and Twitch, Trixar117.
Yeah.
Good friend of the pod. We get good traffic whenever we have John on, and I'm expecting this episode to be go just as well.
Thank
you, John. Thank you, Aldo. This has been Between
Nerds.